2024 to order at 5:05 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Commissioner Derek Bowden, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day that you blessed us to experience. We thank you for your grace. We ask that you forgive us of all of our sins and cleanse us from unrighteousness, that we can walk in your will and walk in your light, Father. Bless us continually to do the business of the city and to do what pleases you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb,
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Bowden,
Present.
Commissioner Cowan-Williams,
Present.
Commissioner McPherson,
Present.
City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Present.
City Clerk is present.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Thank you, staff. Thank you, commissioners, and thank anyone out in the audience that are listening in on our workshop today. Our topic for this workshop that we'll be discussing is the discussion of the city manager proposed contract. That'll be the only topic we will be talking about today in this workshop. Of course, these won't be a vote, but it will be getting a census of what we're going to do to move forward in our regular commission meeting. So at this time, I'll have the city manager continue. I think at the last place we stopped at was the salary. So if you turn to that, that's where
Section
we'll be.
5.
Section 5.
Yeah, section 5.
Okay. Mayor and Commission, beginning in Section 5, Section 5, compensation and manager benefits. Start with letter A, base salary. Employees shall pay to the manager a base salary to be determined for the first 12 months, plus other benefits enumerated herein, payable on the regular pay periods of the city. This agreement may be amended at any time and shall be reduced to writing following City Commission approval. In addition, consideration shall be given on an annual basis to an increase in compensation. B, performance review period, annually beginning May 1st, subject to a process, form, criteria, and format for the evaluation, which shall be mutually agreed upon by the Commission and the manager at a meeting of the City Commission. And every year thereafter, the Commission shall conduct a review of manager's performance, so known as performance review, and may evaluate his salary and benefits as may be appropriate. Letter C, benefits. City shall provide for managers health care, dental, and eye benefit deductions as provided to other full-time employees of the city. City agrees to pay the 4% contribution of the manager's gross base salary as retirement contribution in his retirement fund under the Florida retirement system towards the manager's retirement. D, vacation sick leave. Upon commencing employment, the manager shall be credited with 30 hours of sick leave and 40 hours of vacation leave. In addition, beginning the first day of employment, the manager shall accrue sick leave and vacation time on an annual basis at a minimum at the highest rate provided or available to any other department head employee under the same rules and provisions applicable to other department head employees. The manager shall qualify for all other categories of leave afforded to all other employees of the city, to include bereavement, holiday, jury duty, and court appearances. Letter E, memberships. Employees shall pay all professional association membership dues and expenses relating to managers' professional programs not to exceed $30,000 per year. Bonding, $3,000 per year, I'm sorry. Bonding. The city shall bear the full cost of any fidelity or other bonds that may be required of the city manager under any city, state, and or federal law.
Okay, City Manager, let me stop you right there. We're going to go back to A and move back down to each of these categories and see if the commission don't have any problem with any language or anything in there? If so, we'll make a discussion and see if we'll make some adjustment if needed. So we're gonna go back to A, which is probably gonna be our biggest decision, the compensation. Right now, is the city manager's asking for a salary of $140,000 a year. Just as a recap, Commissioner Bolden didn't have a problem with that. Commissioner McPherson kind of countered that and say he would be comfortable with $130. I believe also Commissioner Williams indicated that she was looking at the 120, and Vice Mayor Mervin also was in concurrent with the 120. I'm not saying that's current now, but that was what was said at our last meeting. Just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we're gonna discuss where we are and what we wanna do as far as the salary is concerned.
I have a question. I'm still with the 120, but I think I asked the last time, what did it mean when it says plus other benefits? The statement after that, enumerated herein payable on the regular pay periods of the city, and the part that says, in addition, consideration shall be given on an annual basis to an increase in compensation. So I'm the same with the salary, but I also had questions in regards to that language as well.
Okay, if I may, Mayor, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
That language refers to, I guess it refers down throughout the alphabet. The one in particular that you mentioned, plus other benefits, those plus other benefits are covered in the benefits section. C, those are the other benefits that it's referencing.
So can we remove that from up there, and since it's specified in C, we can remove that language from A under other benefits, since he says they're specified in the other alphabets?
You can do that, but that's boilerplate contract language. You can remove it, but it just refers to, and likewise, the other part that's referencing letter B is what you asked about a minute ago. In addition, consideration shall be given on an annual basis to an increase in compensation. All of that will be covered under B. The performance review kind of spells that out a little bit more in detail. So A is all encompassing, and the other alphabets kind of spell them out in a little bit more detail. And that's standard boilerplate contract language.
Mayor Bab, I'm still with the 120 for the first year, and that with 120 plus with the benefits. Because that includes the insurance, you got to add it, so.
Mr. Mayor, I know there were some conversations around the overall budget and how the recommended, or what I'm recommending, will be covered in the budget, as it was not originally allocated at that level, at that amount. And I kind of went into some detail on the ability to make transfers within the overall budget in areas that will allow for the additional $20,000. I also spoke a little bit about the comparison with the overall city manager's budget from previous years, and just going back one fiscal year, the total amount for salaries is considerably higher than the total amount for salaries for this year, at some $44,400. So from a budgetary standpoint, it's not an increase, even with the proposed 140. It's still considered a decrease of some $25,000 over last year's budget.
I have a join in, and I'll do it at this time. Since 2 commissioners have indicated that they are comfortable with the 120, I would also agree with that. And also looking at, this is the first year of the city manager term as our city manager. I think that we will and always will consider increases on an annual basis, and we will look at actual performance where we can say, you know, the city manager is doing a great job and he do need to be compensated for the additional work that he's doing. I have just a slight problem when we go from 120 to the 140 because we're setting a precedent. That means if another city manager come in, you don't necessarily have to do it, but you want to be consistent in your salary structure, so you look at that and they almost suspect that they're going to look when they apply, maybe the last city manager received this, then at a minimum I should receive this, but it may don't get to that point. Hopefully our city manager will be here on a long-term basis, but bottom line, I agree with the $120 that was initially advertised for the position. I understand the city manager position, he did come in as an interim, and he was thinking and hopeful that once he became the city manager, the permanent city manager, his salary would be increased. I think it will at some point. It's on a gradual year-by-year basis, though. So my thought is to agree with the other 2 commissioners and as a majority come to the conclusion that our salary for this year for our city manager would be $120,000 a year.
Okay.
And I don't have any problem, but I was willing to at least go to 125, and originally I said 130, but if we can come to, and census, I would recommend 125. But
I'll just say this. I think, you know, I'm fine with whatever the outcome is. I'll say at some point, especially when you understand the process, at some point you have to pay people based on their resume and what they already bring to the table. I think, you know, we've pretty much taken a flat rate approach that no matter who comes in here, we're going to pay them the same. And I don't know any organization that does that. They usually ask for your resume for a reason, to see the things that you have done, to really understand the quality of work that you bring. At some point, we're going to have to get away from, you know, this flat rate. If we want a quality city manager, we're going to have to really take a look at what they bring to the table, as opposed to saying to them, we'll see what you'll do. That's my opinion on it. Like I said, I'm okay with whatever the majority says, but at some point, we're going to have to consider what people bring to the table as opposed to what they're going to do year 2 or 3 from the time that they were hired. So that's just my view on it.
Do you have any, based on the conversation that was just occurred, not so much Commissioner Bowden, but it's 3 or 4, whoever had some input in this decision, have anyone changed their mind as far as the majority of the 120? Just want to make sure. So that would be the consensus moving forward as far as the contract of his salary. I think the majority is saying 120 at this time. And I'll give you an opportunity, Mr. Jackson. I think you wanted to say stuff. I don't know if you wanted to say anything in addition to what was said already.
No, not really, but I would want to, just for the record, just reiterate, and you kind of mentioned it before, when the salary was defined for the interim position. I agreed to that because I knew coming in that there was probably no negotiation or wiggle room in that. And after being here, I think it was almost 4 months plus, I was given an evaluation that suggested I was doing a decent job based on the ratings. And I utilized that to kind of, along with looking at what was standard in the area and what I consider a fair salary for a full-time city manager, and that's the reason why I proposed what I did. I understand your rationale and reasoning, but I would also suggest that just because it was $120,000 starting salary for the last maybe 3 managers, it's not a apples to apples comparison, because again, you have to consider experience, you have to consider the overall ability to get the job done. I think again, from being here 4 months, and it's been a short 4 months at the time, I received above average rankings from all of the commission, and I think that I deserved the $140,000. I'm not. You've spoken, and I hear you loud and clear. I just wanted to say that for the record. Is we have to get away from, as a city and decision makers, doing things historically just because we've done them in the past. It really does suggest a real good projection for future growth and future encouragement of existing employees.
Could I just add, just to be noted, even though we did the evaluation, the period that we evaluated, I really don't think we had adequate enough time to really evaluate the city manager. Now, we graded him or rated him based on what we saw at the time, but to actually give a fair evaluation would be at least a year, yearly evaluation, and that way you can go back and look and see your goals and what was achieved and what wasn't, and that was kind of a probationary evaluation. Now, I don't have any problems with making evaluation performance-based, and the reason I say that, and I know a lot of things have been getting did behind the scenes, and I'm very, very aware of that, like our TALAG audits. But our citizens, they want to see some hard work. And I know we're working on it, but our citizens feel like they've been being promised about the roads and these things. Until they actually see these things, then we can probably, justify and comfortable make some of those decisions a lot better. And I just want to add that comment in there.
Okay.
So.
In all fairness, Commissioner, a lot of the projects that quote-unquote citizens have lived through or experienced happened many years before I even
I truly understand that.
So you really can't.
Trust me, I live in this city.
Right.
So
that's not a real good measure.
Yeah.
And I will, if just for conversational pieces, in the last 6 months, projects that had been stale or died, for lack of a better term, are now up and running and very close to being completed. And again, it's because not only me, but the fact that I've been able to encourage and motivate staff to do a lot of the things that they probably weren't as motivated to do, or provided the leadership, I should say, to complete and do. That's now changed. And because of the energy of staff through my leadership and the department head's leadership, things are beginning to move in a way that the citizens will. And I would say the citizens, we got a real good relationship with citizens as well. I'm in the community all the time. I'm giving updates. I'm addressing concerns. all the time. So I just want, just like you made your comment, I just want to reflect that I'm doing a lot of that work, and you did reference this behind the scene, but a lot of it will be visible in the very, very near future.
All right, we're gonna move on.
We're moving on from this section, or?
No, we're gonna still look at it. If you got any concerns, any questions in any of these alphabets that was already read by the city manager.
For performance review period, we would change that date, correct? If he's hired, it would change from May, correct?
Right, from the date of hire to the next rating period would be a year.
And so on here it says that he will be evaluated based on subject to a process, a form, or criteria and format for the evaluation, which shall mutually be agreed upon by the city commission and the managers at a meeting of the city commission. So that means prior to evaluating him, I know we've been asking for, at least I know Commissioner McPherson has at several of the meetings, the process of, I know that was at the May 28th meeting. I have it written right here, from, that he asked for, what date, I have it right here. Oh, on October 22nd, discussion of performance evaluation for city clerk and city manager. So that means that will come back to us at a commission meeting to discuss what evaluation tool that we're going to use, because I know he asked that at that October 22nd meeting. And so prior to the evaluation, we will be having a workshop going through that process, correct? Mm-hmm. Prior to the evaluation being done, and to so that we can vote on what tool we're going to use or how the evaluation process is going to look.
Right.
Could I just
So
add?
here, I guess with this language, where it says subject to a process, form, criteria, and format for the evaluation, he's saying which shall be mutually agreed upon by the commission and the city manager at a meeting. So will that process be done at a meeting? Are we gonna do,
No, we'll initially do a workshop to get the process that we want down, and then we would confirm it at a meeting. And this would also include performance standards or goals that we would like. I'm just using this as an example. I think the city's manager should set aside 5 goals that he would want to accomplish. And this commission, say for each of us, have 1 goal for a total of 5. So he would have 10 goals, and this is just an ideal and a suggestion. It's not etched in stone. This the type of process I'm looking at, in addition to making sure that the question we ask or evaluate him on the performance standards, we all can agree that these are some measurable standards that we need to look at and be adequately able to evaluate them.
So will we put workshop there and then at a meeting? So should we discuss at a workshop first and not just at the meeting?
This is
So
contracts. I don't think we need to say at a workshop. That will be our strategy to do it initially at a workshop. But the meeting part is part of it, because you're bringing it before the commission as a whole to actually vote on it. At a workshop, we're not able to vote on any items, but we can set the parameter of what we'd like to do and how we'd like to accomplish it.
Okay.
Can I make a
But
suggestion
we'll
on
just
that?
change that date though from May.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there are already tools that evaluation and performance evaluation. As a matter of fact, I got a hold of the clerks as well as the city managers. But when we do that workshop, why don't we take those old evaluations and determine what, like you say, we can put the goals or whatever things that we want to change, but we don't think we need to try to create the whole process
Yeah,
from
absolutely. We're not going to do
top
that.
to
Right. Yeah.
bottom
Yeah.
and use that to maybe
Yeah.
critique or
And as a suggestion too, you
Maintain.
can Google the city manager evaluation. There's all types of cities out there that have them. They're pretty standard and similar in nature, so ours is not anywhere outside of the normal realm anyway. But we'll fine tune it and get the one we really want to be able to evaluate it on.
and something else was said as far as make sure that we have a clear understanding. I don't think, we don't need to wait until it's time to evaluate the city manager. We need to have that workshop as soon as possible so we can get those standards in place, so the clerk and the city manager have an understanding of what's expected, and we know what's expected. So when it's time to do the evaluation, there won't be no misunderstandings.
Okay. So we are going to be changing the evaluation date from the time this contract take effect until the following year to have the 1 year range, 12 months range that we'll be evaluating. And of course, like Commissioner like this and say, we're gonna do the workshop well ahead of evaluation that need to be done. We'll do it at the beginning, sometime during the new year, in the beginning of the new year. We wanna make sure we at least have that done and set a time and a place for our workshop. On the B, do anybody have any correction or any changes you see in that you want to make?
I think it was just the date.
Just the date.
From May,
From the
just the
date
date.
of
Right, yeah, that would be correct. Okay. Let's look at then D. This
Oh, C.
C. Okay, yes. As for the 4%, what's the current, what are we paying the current, previous city managers?
I have the previous city manager contract before me right now. Benefits for, that was section C. City shall provide for managers health care, dental, and eye benefit deducted as provided to other general full-time employees of employer, plus those items added herein. City agrees to pay the 4% contribution of the city manager's gross base salary as retirement contribution in his retirement fund, and city shall provide to pay a match of minimum of 3.3% under the Florida retirement. That's what's the previous city manager's contract. If y'all want to take a look at it, I have a copy.
And what did the previous city manager pay in for himself? We paid in that, and what did he pay in?
According to this, it don't look like he paid anything. It says benefits, but that would be up to him what he want to
Yeah,
pay.
you know what I'm
But
saying?
it
You
says
don't-
But there's
benefits.
a law, let me look it up.
Well, here's the contract right here.
In the
I
contract,
know.
they really don't have what they, cause they don't, it's like it's up to their big pay in, but it would have.
No,
what
there's
they-
a law, if we're gonna pay in, they have to pay in something, we can't, let me find the law, let me get my
I paid for
computer.
one of my jobs, I paid,
Oh, where's
don't
my-
have to pay.
I want that. I don't
Got
like
my
that bite when
computer.
y'all get to
For
looking
the
at it.
Florida retirement system. For the Florida retirement system, are we allowed to do, I've left my computer at home, cause I looked that up. There's a law, are we allowed to pay into the Florida retirement system and they don't pay? I left my computer, let me see if I can use my phone.
City attorney, you wanna be able to answer that?
I believe, I don't think there's a requirement that the employee actually contribute. The city can pay into his retirement fund, and it's up to the employee as to
If
whether or
they
not
choose
they
to
want to
pay,
contribute
exactly.
Right.
towards their retirement.
And again, without being repetitious, everything that you're seeing here is nothing new. I think I mentioned initially that I fashioned this not only from state statute and Florida Managers Association, but also from the International City Managers Association contracts. So what you see is nothing that's mysterious or unheard of. It's very, very common, and so I just needed to say that.
So it appears, are there any problems with what's being proposed?
I propose this 3% versus the 4%.
Okay, this is one of the opportunities and one of the chances that I was just referring to back a minute ago. If you're going to in my mind, if you're gonna compare past city managers' contracts, and you're gonna make that applicable for some sections and then not make it applicable for other sections, it doesn't seem like a fair process. So if you're saying in one voice that you're gonna uphold the historical structure of the contract, and then consider undoing that just 2 alphabets down, I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, our previous city manager had a 4% buy-in as far as the retirement system that the city was
Yeah, I don't have-
responsible. So I'll be consistent and want to do basically the same, but each commissioner do have their own thoughts and comments, so we do entertain and listen to whatever a commissioner say, but you'd still have to get a majority
Sure.
to say, let's change it from 4 to 3, so.
Can I just read this, Mayor Bab? I looked it up. It says, "The Florida retirement system requires that employees contribute 3% of their pre-tax salary to their retirement account. This contribution is mandatory and begins with the employee's first paycheck regardless of which FRS plan they choose." So I know they're saying that that's not, but I'm looked it up with the Florida retirement system. So you're saying that we can contribute, and they, well, I guess I should ask Mr. Jackson, how much are you going to contribute to the Florida retirement system towards your retirement?
What does that have to do with this contract?
That's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like on-
But I'm saying we're gonna vote on something that, where is it saying that they are required to pay in 3%. I don't have a problem with us paying in, but we're gonna pay in, and it says the Florida retirement system requires that employees contribute 3% of their pre-tax salary. So we're gonna go against what a requirement is. That's what I'm saying. I don't have anything against paying into the retirement. I'm just asking a question, what is he going to contribute? I'm just looking at what the Florida retirement system is saying.
Okay, does the Florida retirement system say that for employees, or does it say it for cities in an elected body?
It says the Florida retirement system requires that employees contribute. It doesn't specify whether they city, county, or state. It says the Florida retirement system requires that employees contribute 3% of their pre-tax salary to their retirement account. This contribution is mandatory and begins with the employee's first paycheck regardless of which FRS plan they choose.
Okay, as an employee, I'm gonna follow the law, and that's just sums it up.
So my only question was that I was just asking if it says he has to contribute 3%. I guess my question was, is he going to be contributing
He
to
said
the
he would follow
FRS?
the law. It's a requirement. He would do the 3% at a minimum. He would follow the law. And our city attorney would just follow up on that and make sure that he's required. If he is, then the contract would include
Question.
that.
Right, Commissioner, may I ask where you're reading, what section, so that I can look at the definition of state employee?
I just went under the Florida retirement system and it came up, that's what I put in, and that they just gave me an overview of it, when I typed in Florida retirement system, contributions. It's not telling me exactly what section it's up under.
I do have a question.
Okay, we'll definitely get an opinion on that and get back with you, but,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, and as far as his contribution, is that something that happens with us, or is that something that he discusses with Human Resources?
It should be with Human Resources.
Okay.
It's like
Yes.
a personal thing. It's like any job. You can take it or you not take it, but your job always, most time, required, it pays into your retirement. But you don't, if you choose to, if you would like to match it or you would like to put a 3% but that's not a mandatory. Or, cause there's some people their job pays into it and they don't pay anything. You know, so that's not really.
Attorney,
It's at www.myfrs.com. It says contribution rates are set by Florida law. Neither the employee nor the employer can change contribution rates. Based on Florida law, employees contribute 3% of their pre-tax salary beginning with their first paycheck, regardless which FRS plan. So can you look into it? Because that's what it is saying that we have to do.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
Are there any questions related to any of the other item before we get to section 7?
So you see
Membership.
that 4%, it'll be
Yeah,
4%.
right.
Four.
Mhm.
Because it also says it's mandatory and contributions, you're not required, by law, you're required by law to make it, and it's not something you can opt out of. So it's on FRS.
Let's try to hit everything that may be dealing with dollars amount. Number 7, other benefits. Let's start with that.
You miss D.
Ms. D.
Okay. Go ahead and do D.
You want me to read it again? Okay, vacation sick leave. Upon commencing employment, the manager shall be credited with 30 hours of sick leave and 40 hours of vacation leave. In addition, beginning the first day of employment, the manager shall accrue sick leave and vacation time on an annual basis at a minimum at the highest rate provided or available to any other department head employee, under the same rules and provisions applicable to other department head employees. Managers shall qualify for all other categories of leave afforded to all other employees of the city, to include bereavement, holiday, jury duty, and court appearances.
Any commission have any problems, any concerns with that? D.
I don't have a problem, I just have a question where it says for court appearances, can we put for the city? Because it wouldn't be for personal, right? That would be for city business, right?
City attorney, you can address that maybe. As far as a court appearance, she's saying
Or
that.
perhaps court-ordered appearances?
For city business, because if it's your own personal court order, would we pay for them to go to court for that? I understand jury duty, but I'm just saying for court appearances outside of city work, for the city. Like say for instance, if I gotta go to court because I witnessed something, will we pay for them having to go to court on personal issues?
No, you wouldn't want to do that, but that's why I said court-ordered if he was subpoenaed in another matter, even from a previous position. I'm not sure, but
But this just says court appearances,
Right.
so I wanted, can it say for city business, court appearances for city business?
yes, we can make that change, but do you have any objection to any court-ordered appearances? That may not be this city, but maybe being subpoenaed in another matter?
Relating to city business?
Well, it may not necessarily be city business, but I will make the change and add for city business, but I think you should probably include any other court-ordered appearances if he's, well, I guess, as long as it's in the context of city business, if that's your desire. I can include that language.
I have a question where it says, department heads as far as provided are available to any other department head employee. What does each department head get? Let me just read the entire thing. It says, in addition, beginning the first day of employment, the manager shall accrue sick leave and vacation time on an annual basis at a minimum at the highest rate of leave, and vacation time on an annual basis at the minimum, at the highest rate provided are available to any other department head or employee. How much does the department heads earn?
Okay.
And the reason I'm asking, because we got, and my next question is the 30 hours and 40 hours, is that annually or is that I mean, I know that's gonna be on top of what the employees is, the department heads receive. And you got the 30 hours of sick and 40 hours of vacation. And is that annual, or would that be every year, or just one-time basis when you're hired, you're an additional with the, whatever the department heads receive?
Okay. Vacation accrual for department heads. If you're a department head and you've been in that position from 0 to 60 months, you accrue at 4.62 hours bi-weekly.
4 point, how much?
4.62 hours bi-weekly, and that's equivalent to 3 weeks a year.
Because so department heads, they don't get anything up front as far as, I'm just asking a question.
No,
So
no,
it's a
they
key.
accrue it, correct. And if you're a department head and you've been in that position for 10 years or greater, you accrue at 6.15 hours for a total of 4 weeks a year. And the sick leave, everyone accrue at 3.69 hours on a bi-weekly basis. Sick leave benefits accrue for the first date of hire, but may be taken until the employee has completed 90 days of service.
And the reason I asked
that's
that
3
question,
weeks of sick, 4 weeks
I was
of
privy in for the retirement system, any department head that was salary, they gave them a certain amount from day one when they started the position. That's the reason I asked that question, because I didn't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Did you get the complete answer though? Is it gonna be annually where,
Well, the second question about the 30 and the 40,
right?
yes,
No, that won't be annual.
Just-
That'll be upon
the hire.
hiring, correct?
One time, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And further it says, city managers' leave and sick are specified in the city manager's contractual agreement approved by the commission, which we're doing now.
Okay.
So that mean you're asking for 4 weeks of vacation and 3 weeks of sick? Cause you said at the highest rate. So that would be the highest rate, right? 4
he's-
weeks.
No.
He's gonna be getting that.
The
up
30 and
front,
40
his
is
first year
separate,
of
and
employment.
then you're gonna get what the other employees get, as the accrued time.
I know, but my question is, when will he get the 4 weeks and when will he get the 3 weeks of sick? Because then it says, where it says when he start after, when will he get that at the highest rate?
It accrues day one. It starts accruing day one, and at the end of the year, it calculates for 3 weeks. At the end of the year, I would have accumulated 3 weeks of leave as a department head between 0 and 60 months.
Oh, so you'll start with the 4.62? No, he said the highest rate.
You're gonna start with that coming in,
I know,
and then you accumulate the other post, the 4.6, which adds up to what, the 3 weeks?
but he said
It's
the
all
highest
accruing.
rate. So you won't get the 6 point,
That is the highest rate.
the 6.15?
No, for 0 to 60 months, for department heads, it accrues at 4.62 hours. I fall in the category of 0 to 6 months. So I accrue at 4.62 hours bi-weekly. If I'm here 10 years or greater, I'll
Then he
accrue at
gets the
6.15
increase.
hours.
Okay.
Everybody fine with that language?
Yeah.
Okay. We go to E.
Membership. Employers shall pay all professional association membership dues and expenses related to managers' professional programs not to exceed $3,000 per year.
I just have one question. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
will that include you getting the city manager certification? Would that be included in that if that is something that we would like for you to have, the city manager certification?
Yes, that can be utilized through memberships, yes.
Mr. County, may I have my, old contract back?
We have it?
Which, contract?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. We're good on E.
So including city manager certification.
The city shall bear, you got another question?
No, I was just,
okay.
no, I was just writing, I'm sorry.
The city shall bear the full cost of any fidelity or other bonds that may be required of the city manager under any city, state, and/or federal law.
My bad, I think that one pretty standard
Yeah,
for all city
mhm,
managers,
mhm.
so we can,
Okay, we'll move to B.
Section 7.
A, I'm sorry.
Okay. Technology allowance. The city shall provide the city manager with a mobile telephone allowance of $200 per month to be used for city purposes only. In the alternative, the city manager may also elect to be part of the city's mobile use plan for monthly cellular service. And for your information, up to this time, I've used the alternative. I'm a part of the city's plan to provide a cell phone for my use.
Okay.
And so can we just, so we can just strike the other part out, the city shall provide the city manager with a mobile phone since you're gonna be on the allowance, so can we just strike that part out?
We can't,
Since
we
it-
already
yeah.
made a choice to use
Yeah.
the city when we'll take that out so it
Let
don't
me
get,
strike that out.
we getting dual, stipend or reimbursement.
Okay.
B.
Stretch that part out.
The manager's duties require exclusive and unrestricted use of a vehicle to be mutually agreed upon and provided to the manager at the employer's cost. Should be agreed upon whether the vehicle is purchased, leased, or provided by a monthly allowance to the manager by the employer. Manager shall be reimbursed for reasonable documented travel and lodging expenses incurred while conducting business on behalf of the city outside of Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, and Broward counties, and after approval by the city commission.
Only area I have some concerns with is exclusive and unrestricted
that's
use of
what
the
I got,
vehicle.
yeah.
We just need to have that explained, what you consider, and I'll just use that example. To me, when you say exclusive and unrestricted, I mean, even when you on vacation or have time off your city work, that you can use this vehicle to go, say, California or New York or anywhere you want to travel with or without family members or others in the vehicle that could pose a liability for the city if an accident occurred.
Okay.
Even during your time off. So
Yeah.
explain that and so we'll be sure.
I don't have any issues with striking unrestricted. It's just not the intended use I would use. But exclusive means that it's the vehicle is dedicated to me as the city manager and the city manager's use. So it's exclusively set aside for the city manager.
Okay.
So, just say, for instance, if the public works utility car broke down, I don't anticipate having them to come in and ask to borrow my vehicle.
Right, I got
because
you on the exclusives now, right, yeah,
Okay.
so we're fine.
Yes, sir.
Now, we're gonna move unrestricted, I think that's the problem I have.
Yeah, we
the
strike
concern
it
I
through the-
have, That would be unrestricted.
Yes.
I don't know if we need to have anything in there to say what we're looking at, but I'll give you an example too. We have employees, I believe, that using city vehicles, even on their day off, and they're using it for personal use. And I think, if I'm not mistaken,
on
we're
one of my
probably
pictures,
paying for the gas, so not only yourself, but employees, we need to make sure that those vehicles are used when they are doing their official city business, and outside of that,
Yes, sir.
days off, it should be written all over the country or county.
Okay. I've met with department heads previously about that, and it's a continuation of having to remind them and probably develop a stronger policy behind it to make sure it's adequately enforced.
The only thing I want to add to this, since we purchasing a vehicle, are we gonna put a, price tag on what we're gonna purchase? We don't wanna go and purchase a Lamborghini. I know he's not gonna do that, but I'm just saying
Right.
It's-
Yeah, I think we're gonna decide whether it's gonna be a purchase, a
Or
lease, or whatever gonna be the most economic and the best use for the city. And I don't know, we'll have to set aside the time and really, and he'll give us some preference of what he feels it'll be better for the city, for us cost-wise, to purchase a vehicle outright ourselves, which we have to take care of the maintenance and everything else associated with it, or lease it where you got every 3 years or 2 years, you getting changing the vehicle and getting a better vehicle with less mileage on it.
Right.
So that's something, I guess, at some point.
I've looked at both options.
Yeah.
And then
And
that'll
that'll be
certain,
brought back to us.
they'll bring
with
it back to you.
recommendations.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Mayor Bell. I know we had a new vehicle and that vehicle was, in an accident. Are we looking at staying within that price range or the funding that we receive for that vehicle? Or was that something we're gonna discuss later? Or did we even get paid for that vehicle when it was in the accident?
Yeah, that I think we can discuss later. It's outside
Okay.
of this particular
Okay.
contract. So I just wanna make sure when we go in tonight.
Oh, yeah, well, I
We
was
can
just
go
saying
ahead,
that to see
yeah.
if we could stay within that range of
Right.
what that amount was, so that's why I was asking.
Okay.
Section 8.
Yes,
The city manager shall be required to perform the terms of this contract and all requirements as specified in section 3.04 of the City of Pahokee's charter. Other terms and conditions of employment may be required so long as not inconsistent or in conflict with the provisions of state law, county ordinance, city charter, city ordinance, county ethics ordinance, or other applicable law. And that's boilerplate language for contracts as well. Section 9, unless there are questions for section 8.
no, I don't think that's standard.
Notices, which is also standard. Notice pursuant to this agreement shall be given by depositing into the custody of the United States Postal Service by certified mail return receipt or any other certified delivery service showing confirmation of process, delivery, and directed to the city manager and city attorney and it main law offices addresses. As to the city manager, notices
Excuse me, it says to the city mayor and city attorney?
directed to the city mayor and city attorney.
Okay. You said manager, okay.
As to the city manager, notice may be made by hand delivery at the offices of the city hall if city manager is working for city, or by certified delivery service showing confirmation of process to the last known address city manager as maintained within the city manager's employment file or other reliable source. Standard. Section 10, entire agreement. The text of this document shall constitute the entire agreement between the parties except as may be amended in writing by the parties hereto. All provisions contained in this agreement are subject to and conditioned upon compliance with the city charter, city code of ordinances, applicable county laws to include ethics, ordinances, and other applicable requirements, state statutes, state constitutional provisions, regulations, resolutions, and policies. The charter, the county codes, state statutes, and constitutional provisions shall take precedence over any part or portion of this agreement and any other provisions of this agreement to the contrary notwithstanding. Any terms, conditions, and benefits not specifically addressed in this agreement shall not apply to this agreement. And then you have the witness section and the signature blocks.
I have a question, Mayor Bell. When we went over the contract in section 3, under duties and obligations, I saw where the attorney did make some changes, but there were some requests for B that I didn't see where she put the information in there, that I requested that if it passes, that the attorney is allowed to have a second job, that I said that I didn't agree with, but if it, majority votes on that. But it said that if he decided to have a second job, that he will provide the commission with a list of who his clients are and that information prior to accepting them, to make sure that there was no conflict with the city. And I just noticed that information was not in there. So I'm not in agreement with B. But I remember we discussed that.
I guess the reason, and can't speak for the city attorney, but the reason it wasn't specifically put in there, the clients now, because sometimes you don't know exactly who your client would be.
No, it said he would provide, the language that I was asking for is that he would provide a list. Of course, he don't have it. It was saying prior to accepting a contract with them.
Okay.
That language was not put in there, that he would provide us a list of clients prior to giving that, accepting a contract with them, so that we can make sure that there was no conflict.
I have a
But,
question.
if the majority of it, and that's what they want, I'm just saying, I'm not in agreement with it. But I'm in agreement of city manager being full-time and not being able to have a second job.
Going back to, I think he even agreed with that. We'll make sure that part is in there prior to him being approved for the consultant or whoever he's doing outside employment with. We'll be able to receive a list so we can determine whether or not there's any conflict of interest before it is actually approved. And I thought I saw the language in there.
Right,
it's
it
not for
does,
B.
It's
Not
in
it
there.
does indicate that prior to accepting outside employment, that employment must be approved by the commission.
Right. It's there.
So,
So
and that's in
basically-
section 3B, duties and obligations.
My question was, does he have to legally disclose his clients?
That's what I was gonna say, is that, I understand what we're doing for the outside employee, but is that, get back, like,
That's
to
a bit
me, you get
invasive.
back into their personal, it's like you asking him, I think if it, I know there is a statement that if it's a conflict, that they have to sign if something a conflict with the city, and I think it should be addressed to the commission if there is, but to me, I think you're getting too much into a personal thing. Okay, let me know who your client is. Cause to me, I don't think, you know, I don't know, it's up to you. I don't think you should enclose who your clients are.
Well, just for the record, can I
Yeah.
state, I'm in disagreement with the city manager having a second
Yeah.
job. That's the only thing that I stated, and I want to make it clear for the record. In this contract, I'm in disagreement with the city manager having a second job. We have not allowed any of the other city managers to have a second job, and I just want that for the record.
And I agree with, as far as the second, I agree with that, but I think he already has a consulting firm. I won't tell him to quit their position that's already up in front. So you tell him to close out what he's doing. So it's different if he came in and then, okay, now he can go out and start getting, a second job. I'm against that, but I don't think you should.
I think listing the clients was a way of the city
No, that's conflict of interest.
being sure that there wasn't a conflict of interest, and it was a compromise. I know we're saying we're getting in his personal business, but in our previous city manager, it was an exclusive employment obligation that you only did this for your work, full-time, only working as Pahokee city manager. So the compromise to kind of ease some of the concern was to make sure if we did decide to agree on it, it wasn't a conflict of interest. So the only way you can really determine whether or not it's a conflict of interest is you know who those clients are. And I don't think that's too personal to ask if you're working a second job and we're making some provision to allow you to continue doing that. And I think that's why I was there.
If I may, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree to a certain extent, and I'll just repeat what I said earlier. I'm going to follow the law, and I know you want terminology and language in the contract to make sure I'm doing that. But it's not, first and foremost, it's not a second job. I'm agreeing to work exclusively for the city, and we had a level of conversation about this the other time, at our other workshop. This is saying if I have an opportunity to teach or do a consulting opportunity, it will not be during the time that I'm working for the city. I will either be on leave or be on vacation or something. I will not work two jobs at the same time. It's been mentioned a couple of times, a second job. This is not considered a second job. And the other thing, and I'll end with this, I'm going to follow the law. If there's an opportunity, most cases there are disclosures, as Vice Mayor mentioned a minute ago. If this is a conflict of interest, I don't have any problem signing a conflict of interest clause if and when that opportunity presents itself. It may never present itself, but if it presents itself and that affidavit or the form that I sign binds me by law not to have a conflict. And if it is a conflict, then I would have to deal with that in a completely different arena. So I just wanted to make sure and so it's not assume that I'm trying to work a second job.
Okay. And I think if no one else changed their thought on the line, the city manager to do his consulting, as long as we know who is a client, so we can determine whether or not that's a conflict of interest. And I think the language in here is appropriate. I think the last time Commissioner Williams indicated that she wasn't in favor of that, but it went by majority, and at least 3 of us say we felt it was okay. You to making sure that the language shows who he's doing business with at the time prior to him allowed to do that.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, if you're okay with the language, we'll keep it as it is, but I just want to make sure that you understand he's not allowed to accept any consulting opportunities unless those opportunities are approved by this commission.
Correct.
So if a conflict exists, it'll be determined at that time. So he has agreed to that, and that language has been included in the contract.
Okay. Okay. Any other final comments or concerns of this contract?
I just had one more question. Did we decide, and maybe I missed it, did we put a cap on carryover on sick or vacation time, or we didn't discuss that?
No, we didn't. We discussed it, but we never did come to the conclusion that there would be a cap. Not only so much on the city manager, but any of our employees, we just felt that that's something that needs to be discussed, whether or not we want to consider doing that. But no, at this point, it hasn't been done.
And so that's not something we're gonna discuss, we just wanna leave it as is.
I would think so, unless it's the commission as a whole feel that we can need to do it in this contract at this time. All right. Hearing no other comments, at this time I adjourn our workshop, and we'll reconvene for our regular commission meeting in 2 minutes. call this City Commission regular meeting of Tuesday, November the 26th, 2024 to order at 6:10 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Commissioner Everett D. McPherson, Sr., followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Father God, we just thank you for another opportunity to come before your presence. Father, I actually just lead us and guide us, Father. Give us your divine wisdom to move this city forward, Father, that we be able to work together in unity, Father, that our city will be a city sitting up on a hill, Father, that you will bless the citizens of this great city of Pahokee, Father, that we will be able to work together with them as this city become the jewel that it is in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Bolden,
Present.
Commissioner Cowan Williams,
Present.
Commissioner McPherson,
Present.
City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Present.
City Clerk is present.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Thank you, staff. Thank you, commissioners, and most importantly, thank our audience for being here today to participate and listen to our commission meeting. At this time, City Manager, do we have any addition on emergency basis to the agenda?
No additions. On the presentations, I'm going to ask the commission to consider receiving a plaque as presented to Lieutenant Cushell on behalf of the city of Pahokee during a law enforcement appreciation program a couple of weeks ago. So in the presentations, if we can add number 3, presentation by Lieutenant Cushell. That's the only other change, recommended change.
City Commission hearing that there one addition to our agenda, presentation by the lieutenant. Are there, what is your pleasure as far as the remainder of the agenda?
I move that we allow the presentation to be implemented in this particular meeting.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner McPherson and properly seconded by Commissioner Bolden that we accept our agenda as presented with the addition of the presentation by the lieutenant. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McPherson,
Present. Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Cowan Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote.
The icebreaker.
Now we'll move into our presentation, proclamation, public service announcement, public comments, agenda items only at this time. City Clerk, do we have any public comments cards on agenda items at this time?
Yes, sir. We have 2 PSAs. The first one is Miss Annie Eifield. Yes.
All right, good evening, Mayor Commission. My name, for the record, Annie Eiffel, Director for Healthier Glades. Here in a different capacity, I'm here representing Community Partners of South Florida. Here I have Ms. Linda Charles, who is the Vice President for Housing with Community Partners of South Florida. I am collaborating with her on an upcoming event in January, on January 25th. Vice Mayor, if you could take this one, take one and pass. One of the things that we do with Healthier Glades is that we work in community, and we do have a standing work group that we focus on addressing issues around housing, and so that's why I have the collaboration with Community Partners of South Florida. On January 25th, we're going to be hosting a Glades housing fair. One of the things we realize is now, in the past couple of years since I've been back home, we've seen a lot of new buildings being built and opportunities for potential housing, whether it's rental or home ownership. So what we wanted to do is I wanted to take advantage of the resources that we have at Community Partners of South Florida and bring that here to the Glades. So every year, Linda with Community Partners, they host a housing fair in Riviera Beach every year. And I wanted to make sure that we bring one here. So what we're doing, we're gonna be inviting realtors, banks, contractors, folks that work in the housing field to come out and share with residents. We're also gonna be providing workshops as well, from pre-purchase, post-purchase, home maintenance, wealth building through heirs property, how to keep your home within the family and pass it on from generation to generation. So, Linda, you want to have anything else to add?
No, I thank you for the opportunity to actually announce that, and we hope everybody will come, or partners will come. We are hoping some of the developers will come because we do a first-time homebuyer program, and we prepare people to purchase their first home.
And so we, Community Partners of South Florida has been around for more than 20 plus
40
years.
years.
40 years.
Almost.
So they've been doing a lot of work in regards to providing support for folks in terms of purchasing a home. I can say from personal experience because they helped me years ago. The other thing I want to also talk about as well is we talked at the last commission meeting a while back about the property on East Main Street where the Apostolic Church, I think yeah. So the building will be completed in 3 weeks, and they're going to do a ribbon cutting the second week in January, and we're going to extend a personal invitation for you guys to come and participate in the ribbon cutting.
And so the 1020 East Main Street.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you there.
Thank you so much.
The next one is Dr. Jenga and Ms. Annie Eichel.
All right. Good evening again. I'm here on behalf of Empower Healthcare. She had a family emergency, so she could not be here tonight. I just want to make the announcement that as we're getting ready for the holidays, and also December is, we're kicking off World AIDS Day on December 2nd. Also, we're also providing a community health fair in the city of Pahokee, right across the street where Empower Healthcare office is. We're going to be using the Fellowship Hall as well as the parking lot to do a community health fair. It's called Healthy Holidays, and it's from December 7th from 12 to 4. We're going to be doing diabetes screening, hypertension screening, brain health screening, and rapid tests for HIV on that day. So if you're interested in being a vendor, or if you're interested in coming out, I will bring the flyers to the City of Pahokee to the office, so that way people can pick them up when they come to the office.
And what's the date again?
It's December 7th from 12 to 4. And that's all I have, I think. Yes,
And it's
that's
gonna
all
be
I
at the empowerment office.
Yes, right across the street. Okay. And if I don't get a chance to see you guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you after the holidays.
Thank you.
Same to you, thank you.
In addition to comments, cards from the public on agenda items only, City Clerk.
Not this portion.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to presentation. I have our city manager introduce the presenters at this time.
Okay, number one, presentation of certificates for completion of the Institute for Elected Municipal Officials. That's EMO 2. And we have certificates and additional information for those that participated in the EMO 2 training. That would be Vice Mayor Mervin, Commissioner Colin Williams, and Commissioner McPherson Sr.
At this time, would those three commissioners go down on the floor so we can present these certificates of completion? You did.
Okay. training certificate of completion, same dates, October 25th through 26th in Altamont Springs, Florida, presented to Commissioner Cowan Williams from the city of Pahokee.
Great job.
And this last one goes to Commissioner McPherson Senior for a certificate of completion, October 25th through 26th, EMO 2 training in Altamont Springs, Florida. Commissioner McPherson Senior, city of Pahokee.
Great job. And you all have an opportunity to say a few words that you like about the training and what you experienced during that time.
Mayor Bev, I would just like to say, I know the three of us went up there too for this class, and I tell you, the class is very informative. A lot of information that you pick up and that you learn, and you meet people from across from across Florida actually that attends these trainings and these classes, and you meet them like cities like yours. A lot of cities, everybody, you think you have issues in your city. Once you go and sit at these tables with, that's how they had your group not with your own, they had your group with other cities. And when you talking to them, they have you learn that, hey, we're not as bad as what we think it is. So I would just say it's good to get out and to see and to learn from other cities, of what's going on. You're not going to learn it all sitting here. You got to venture out. You got to get out, and you got to be able to be at the table, at other cities. Along with this, when I came back, I also had went to the ethics training, which was, they had the state, the federal, they had all of them there. And I tell you, you pick up some new things that you learn. Sitting up here is not just sitting here that you could do what you want to do or how you want to do it. You are governed by the state laws. So I just want to say thank you to the city of Pahokee that allowed us to go and take this class.
I would just like to say, being a new commissioner and being in this position, I have really been learning a lot. You meet a lot of people. You're able to network in other cities. You hear other issues that are going on in other cities, and you're thinking, oh, I can handle it like that, and finding out what you're thinking that could happen. That's not how you can do it. Sometimes you find out you're breaking the law and you should not have done it like that. And so just going to the trainings and learning has been an eye-opener for me to come back to my city and make sure that I'm following the rules and the information that I'm learning, which I'll talk about later when we went to Tampa, all the information that I'm learning from others and networking, how, some of what you're learning, you can come back and implement it in your city. So I just want to say thank you to the city for allowing me being in the position and getting the learning and knowledge that I need to be able to be good at what I'm doing and to try to perfect at what I'm doing. Am I going to get it all in the first year? No, because it's a continuous learning process, because the laws change, different things change. And so I just want to say thank you for allowing me in my first year to be able to go and get the training that I'm getting and to be able to bring it back and implement it in my city.
Yes, I just want to thank the city for allowing me to go. And again, ditto to with some of the stuff Sister Mervin and, Commissioner Mervin and Commissioner Collins stated it. The training was very informative. One of the things that I did pay close attention to is when we listen to other cities, and sometimes you get a chance to share your different things that are going on, different problems that's going on in your city. I tend put my ear to is the solutions that they did to solve those problems. And sometimes you can network, and some of those commissioners and mayors and different things where they did things to solve the problem. For example, there was one guy, he spoke about their roads and their public works department. And what they did, they have their own equipment. Now, they can't do the major road work, but a lot of the smaller things, when you do get your road fixed, that you can repair yourself. And that was informative. Matter of fact, I did get his number and gonna try to get some of those ideas so we can start fixing some of our roads. Now, that doesn't cover the completion of a complete overhaul of a road system, but sometimes you can fix problems once you have your roads repaired. You can fix problems before it get to a terrible situation. You can repair it before it gets to be out of hand. But the meetings were very, very informative. And again, I just want to thank the city for allowing me to go, and I want to continue to learn as much as I can to make sure that I can do and equip myself to do the best job that I can for our city.
Mayor Bear, may I just say one thing? And that's what I like. They were very creative because you had a lot of commissioners there from the same city. And so we never called out city names, so they became very creative when they say somewhere in Sunshine Beach. And so we really enjoyed that, so that they were conscious that they were not violating the Sunshine Law as well. So they became very creative with how they did that, with, you know, you having commissioners there, more than one commissioner there at the meeting. So it was, we learned a lot, and it was really good.
Thank you. And again, congratulations, and thank you all for participating in those workshops and training. Now we'll move to the second presentation. City Manager Jackson.
Yes, sir. At this time, I want to introduce to the commission and the community Mrs. Wrkshp Prince. Mrs. Prince is the city's new Director of Human Resources. Ms. Prince has a full week and a day under her belt. She started last week, Monday. Ms. Prince comes to the city with in excess of 20 years of experience in human resources, both on the municipal level and also the private sector. She has completed a certification process through the University of Miami, certification process for HR, for the human resource management, and she's in the process of completing several other certifications. Ms. Prince comes to us as a local Glades resident, and I know it's something that we pride ourselves on. When we can hire local, we want to be able to do that. And she's hitting the ground running. She's fit in with the staff and group there, and we're very privileged to have her. So again, I introduce to you and the community Mrs. Wrkshp Prince, our new Human Resources Director.
Wonderful.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, City Manager Jackson, for that long introduction. I just want to add some of the things I was able to work on my first week, and I was able to organize, update, and audit the current employees' files, make sure that they are they meet the state Florida statute Title 10. I also, while doing that, I felt the need to create an SOP, which is a standard operating procedures for the HR department. This will be a guideline for myself and future HR professionals in the HR department. I was also able to connect with most of the city current insurance rep to formally introduce myself and give them my plans with improvements and ideas on how we can better serve the employees. Thanks to the city manager and his team for working diligently to make sure I had the tools so that I complete some of these tasks. I just want to thank you for the opportunity, anybody have any questions for you?
No. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Prince. Again, we're very fortunate to have her. The next presenter will be in the person of our very own Lieutenant Cushell. As I mentioned, this is an add-on, but he received a plaque on behalf of the city of Pahokee during a law enforcement appreciation program held in Belglade a couple of weeks ago. Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Ms. Barron, how are you? All right, so I'd like to present this certificate of appreciation. This certificate was given to me at a church on 8th Street in Belglade, and it's a certificate. It was rendered in the Tri-City communities, given by the Social Justice Ministry of the Greater South District Baptist Association International Incorporated, and Pastor Lionel Camel was the moderator of this, and this is being presented to the city of Pahokee. So it was presented during a law enforcement appreciation that the church put on for law enforcement officers. But it's basically saying how the city of Pahokee backs up their law enforcement, and we're very happy to give this to you. So thank you all.
Accepting this certificate of appreciation.
Did you do that, man?
I need y'all to come and go and take a photo op right quick.
Later.
Thank you.
And while the lieutenant is up, I just want to thank him for all the efforts him and his team have done to make our community safe. And one thing he does, he keep us informed about the crime and everything that's going on in our city. We don't have to guess. We get a call now and somebody say, you know, I heard a shooting, what happened? We're able to tell you what happened to a certain extent. But he's doing a great job. We really appreciate the collaboration and the teamwork that this city and PBSO has formed. Thank you so much.
Doing a great job.
That concludes our presentation.
Yes, sir.
We're going to move now to the consent agenda items. We have several commission meetings, minutes, and workshops minutes on here. Normally what we do on the consent, we just go ahead and approve it. I hope everyone had a chance. I know it's a lot to read over any of these items, and you see any mistakes in them, then you would bring that to the clerk attention so we can make some correction if necessary. But at this time, I'll entertain a motion unless there's an objection to going the consent route to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we would accept the consent agenda with the commission meeting minutes from April 23rd, 2024. Should I read it?
Yes, please, for the record.
May 6, 2024, special meeting. May 28th, 2024, commission meeting. June 11th, commission workshop. June 11th, commission meeting. June 25th, commission meeting. July 9th, commission meeting. July 23rd, commission meeting. August 13th, commission meeting. August 27th, commission budget workshop meeting. August 27th, commission meeting. September 11th, commission meeting. September 24th, commission meeting. The 22nd of October, workshop. 27th October, commission meeting. November 8th, commission special meeting.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Murray and properly second by Commissioner Bowden for the adoption and acceptance of the consent agenda items as read by Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden,
Yes.
Commissioner Cowan-Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. City Manager Jackson.
Yes. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had a meeting with the amount of minutes to be approved. I say that to say I would like to publicly thank the city clerk for doing a tremendous job on completing the number of minutes that she's completed. And taking consideration, yes, it's her, it falls under her duties and responsibilities to complete minutes. But when you consider that she had to go back and redo minutes and correct minutes previous to her being named the permanent city clerk, I think 3 or 4 of those fall into that category. Coupled with the fact that she has been one of the primary persons responding to 3, 4 different audits at the same time. And those audit requests come constantly, every day, nonstop, sometimes even on weekends. So I just wanted to publicly thank her, along with all of her other duties. I just want to publicly thank her for doing such a wonderful job on compiling and presenting the minutes in a professional manner as she's presented them.
Thank you. Now we're moving to our resolutions. We have 3 resolutions.
It's old business. Okay.
Okay, I'm jumping.
Update to the project.
Okay. Old business, discussion of existing activities of previously held events, if any. Updates of city projects. City Manager.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Barfield Highway under this category, and maybe also under a different category, but I just wanted to bring it under this category originally. The final asphalt lay as approved during the special call meeting on November 8th has been postponed as recommended by the city's construction and engineering inspectors. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago, during the time that of the National League of Cities Conference, many of you know that was attending the conference. I left the conference early to come back and deal with some pressing issues as it related to Barfield Highway. A detailed and thorough review of the entirety of the highway from our construction engineering inspectors suggests that some additional areas are in need of correcting prior to the final asphalt laying and ultimate closeout. So what this looks like, instead of, I know we had talked about developing a punch list after the final lay, but a lot of the punch list items that we identified should occur before the final lay. So as early as our weekly meeting today with the construction company, Rosso, FDOT Consulting, inspector and city staff to include CapGov, the city's inspectors, a future schedule for final lift and closeout will be forthcoming based upon the completion of the punch list of concerns. Unfortunately, this project has been going for some time, as you well know, but it will not be completed by the close of this calendar year. City staff is presently developing requests for a time extension with DOT. A resolution requesting the same will be presented to you during the December 12th regularly scheduled commission meeting. And again, instead of just closing the project out to say it's closed out, staff is concerned about having it done properly and done right. So it's going to take a little bit more time to make sure that that occurs.
Question,
Yes,
is this
sir.
going to be considered a change order?
No, no.
So whatever additional work that needs to be done prior to the final overlay, this will be, no expense will be charged to the city.
As it stands now, that's still undetermined, but most of what we saw, we're going to be able to attribute it to something that should have been done prior to. So those things that we identified that should have been done prior to, we're gonna make sure those things are done because they are already covered under the cost that we paid.
I have one question, my bad. City manager, where would that leave us with Ranger? I know you said that's why we was having a special meeting, because Ranger wouldn't be able to, I guess Ranger was fitting them
Yes,
in.
Yes.
So now that, I guess we didn't know this prior to the special meeting, so where does this leave Ranger now?
it's basically, we would have to get back on their schedule. And where we are, we will have a complete, report probably as early as tomorrow or no later than, Monday with, the holidays approaching, of everything that's needed to be done. And based on that schedule, that final punch list, we'll be able to determine the time associated with completing those tasks. And then from there, we'll develop a schedule that we can coordinate with Ranger similarly like we did before.
And so the amount that has been approved for asphalt, because I know we talked about the price of asphalt going up. So is there something in writing that we have that we're gonna get asphalt at that same price, even though we know the price of asphalt is going up?
Well, I'm pretty sure that it won't take too much long of a time to have that completed, so that you shouldn't see any major shift or change in asphalt prices. But to say that 100%, I can't say that to be certain.
So we talking about, will we have that conversation with them? You know what I'm saying? I know they have a business they have to run, and we had the special meeting,
Yes.
you know, because we talked about the price going up.
Mhm.
So will you have that conversation with them to see if we can get something in writing? Will we be able to get it at that price still?
I can ask them, Commissioner, but I can't guarantee you they would agree to that because of the fluctuation of prices. But I can definitely ask that to be the case.
Okay, thanks.
I don't have any other updates at this time for city projects. I'm not sure if Ms. Adams, you're gonna provide a calendar for upcoming events.
And Ms. Adams, just while you're speaking on the upcoming event, could you just give us a brief status of where we are on McClure Road? I know it's in the design phase, but at least let the public know. In phase 4 of the resurfacing projects, where's that at? So we'll know some of these roads are gonna be soon addressed, if you could. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. McClure is still at design. I have not touched base with them recently. Design is scheduled 100% completion as of this month. When we come back to next commission meeting, I'll be able to tell you exactly where we are with the design and if we're at completion. But they are working on design, and it is scheduled for completion of December, 100%. And that includes utility and road. Phase 4 should be ready to be presented with a chosen company to bring to commission. So when we come back on the 10th, we'll have that information for
Okay,
you.
would you remind
The streets.
commission and the public, the streets are gonna
The
be
streets are
addressed?
5th Street, 2nd Street, 3rd and 3rd Street, and
Third and third,
2nd and 3rd.
fifth, second.
And 5th all the way, from Barfield Highway all the way to the end, to cross over to Amarillo. So it extended the limits. And we have 3rd Street.
The 5th Street, that's in front of the park?
5th Street is in, okay,
Yeah, okay,
yes, ma'am.
good.
So it'll cover the park and all the way, cross over to Amarillo when it comes to that dead end.
Which part, MLK? Which
Yes,
part?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
MLK.
I think it's important to also remind the commission of the amount of funding for Phase 4 and the likelihood of that completing all of those roads based on the dollar amount?
So that dollar amount, as city manager said, the original, our contract is for $210,000. That is just resurfacing. And again, because of the price of asphalt and materials, our original was, we started out with actually 5 streets, it reduced to 4, now we're down to 3 because of those costs. And as you know, we don't always have striping because that increases and takes the budget over our 210. And when we come back on the 10th, we will have further updates and company to present to you.
And one of the other things, and I'll let you finish in a minute, Ms. Adams, is the consideration of utilizing, when and where possible, additional city surtax, county surtaxes to augment and complement what's not involved and included in the funding of those roads, to see if we can extend it to complete those roads in entirety. So those conversations and opportunities are being discussed as well.
Upcoming event schedule. Thank you, City Manager. We have on December the 2nd, tree lighting for the city of Pahokee. The flyers are on the back table, and I will also present flyers to you all. Our tree lighting will take place at 100 North Lake, the center of town, Ms. Roberts' property. We have permission to use that. The tree lighting will take place at 6 p.m. to 7:30. So we'll have activities out for the kids, as well as, just as we've done in the past, families can bring their ornaments to hang on the tree. The tree does have ornaments on it now. It is up in the center of town.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you guys discussed dealing with the mosquitoes possibly before?
Getting the sprayer out?
Because last year we
Yes.
got kind of ate up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Spraying will occur. So we have you'll have an opportunity to meet Santa if we can get him out there on time. You know he's busy, and this is the flyer, so it is posted. On the December the 16th, we have our annual holiday parade. Parade lineup will begin at 5:15. The parade will start promptly at 6:15. Parade lineup will take place on Larimore, and we will go from Larimore to East Main, North Lake, South Lake, and it will end at the park. And if you are interested in participating in the parade, City Hall has applications. So we're looking for dancers, drumline, organizations, sororities, fraternities, anyone who wants to participate. We're gonna light up the night because our parade takes place in the evening. The next item is our toy giveaway, which is Monday, December the 2nd, 2019, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here at our Parks and Recs facility.
When is that?
December the 19th, which is a Monday, I think. And that is it for our events. City Manager, the chamber information you're gonna?
You can announce it.
Okay. City Manager is passing out the information for the chambers that we are now members of. It is Belgrade Chamber, the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County, and Central Chamber of Commerce, which includes the Hispanic Chamber of Palm Beach County. And so I have attached in there on that list, it includes their holiday events. It includes, December events, the address and the website that you can go in and look at the different offerings that they have and membership activities that they have for us.
Excuse me, Ms. Adams. I have one more question. Back to the parade, to participate in the parade, they have to fill out an application. Is that free to join, or is there a fee associated?
Yes, this year it is free for our Christmas parade. There is no entry fee.
Thank you.
No entry fee.
No entry fee for this year. And that is all the updates that we have for, as of right now. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Now we'll go into our resolutions. We have 3 resolutions. The first resolution is Resolution 2024-50. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2024-50, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, approving a contract with Michael E. Jackson to become the city manager of the City of Pahokee, Florida, attached as Exhibit A.
Mr. Jackson, would you please explain that resolution briefly?
Yes, sir. Over the last 2 commission workshops, we've workshopped the proposed agreement between the City of Pahokee and myself as its permanent city manager. We completed that negotiation process earlier this evening. There are still some areas that we need to make some corrections on and come back with a final copy. But I am recommend tabling this resolution tonight and rescheduling it for our December 10th commission meeting. I've had the opportunity to hear and respect your decision in the negotiation process, and I will be prepared to decide accordingly by that next commission meeting.
Do we need a motion and a second for the tabling of this resolution?
Yes, you will, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, I move to table Resolution 2024-50 to the next regular scheduled commission meeting.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Commissioner McPherson to table Resolution 2024-50 to our next regular scheduled meeting. Call for questions.
And that's on the table and to make the corrections on the contract to come back as a fully executed contract. That's why we're tabling it.
Yes, and also give me an opportunity to consider the negotiations, and if I fully agree and accept those as presented tonight.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin-Williams?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Next, we have Resolution 2024-53, City Attorney.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-53, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the execution of an agreement between the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the City of Pahokee, Florida, pertaining to law enforcement trust funds attached hereto as Exhibit A, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Manager, can you give us a brief explanation of Resolution 2024-53?
Yes, sir, Mayor and Commission. Resolution 2024-53 outlines and authorizes the execution of an agreement between the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the City of Pahokee pertaining to a 2-year agreement for flock safety services. The funds were obtained by a grant that I completed within the first month of joining the city. This project is funded by the Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Trust Fund, and which the city has a 1-year commitment to for grant management and reporting, although the agreement outlines a 2-year agreement with flock for the actual safety services. This grant award is for $64,000. I've asked Lieutenant Cushell to provide a few comments on the system itself and speak to its potential overall effectiveness as a crime prevention and safe neighborhood law enforcement tool. Lieutenant, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Good evening. I'm here to give some statistics and why this system would be beneficial for the city. The system is currently in 4 other cities in Palm Beach County right now: Belgrade, Florida; Riviera Beach, Florida; Lake Park, Florida; and West Palm Beach, Florida. And Riviera Beach Police, West Palm Beach Police Department, and the Sheriff's Office is utilizing this great product in Belgrade and Lake Park, as they have contracts with us. But getting back to the shot spotter, it's like a dignitized 911 call for shots fired in the area. It's proven to expedite law enforcement response of an active event with a 97% accuracy. 89% of shell casings are recovered for evidence processing. Shell casings are when the firearm is fired in the air. They come from the firearm and they'll be on the ground. And that's what helps us solve a lot of crimes in that area. So when we do arrest somebody for a firearm, we can compare it to that firearm and it will come back to those shell casings and logistics. A crime scene is located within 82 feet of an incident. A shorter response time for locating potential victims. There's been plenty of cases in the city of Belgrade and a couple other places where we will get a shot spotter activation and we will respond to that area and find a shooting versus not hearing that, not having a shot spotter, and we could find a shooting the next day or maybe never even find that shots were fired in that area. And being that the city is very small and that we do have deputies in the area at several places, it's very easy for the deputies to get there with a 0 response time and prevent any shootings from occurring, especially from the shot spotter going off. Notification of shots fired occurs within 30 seconds of the first shot. So if it's shot, it's going to occur within 30 seconds. We're going to get that notification. We're going to respond to that area. The shot spotter contract does provide ATF ballistics. Canine responds after a scene is deemed safe to locate any shell casings not seen within the naked eye. So if they're not seen, a canine or ATF would provide that canine. We do have at the Sheriff's Office, we do currently have a gun dog that would come out and track as well. The district crime analysis uses applications within the software to predict and analyze hotspots where activations occur for our road patrol assets. So we have an analyst that looks at these statistics every week and will say, okay, if we're getting, just say 5, we keep getting activations of shot spotter in a certain area. It could be on Main Street or Arden Avenue, anywhere in the city. We now have an ability to direct our law enforcement officers to that specific area to do extra patrols due to this shot spotter activation, us saying, okay, there's shots being fired in this area. We want to patrol this area a lot more. And just a couple other cases for you. The deputy response time to this area is 60 to 90 seconds. So when we get that activation, it's about 60 to 90 seconds for us to be in that area, especially within this small city. And casings recovered in 4 years in Palm Beach County, 229 casings have been recovered. So those are just some statistics I just wanted to provide to the council, to the mayor and the city manager regarding this shot spotter. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, is this 64,000 for the shot spotter only?
I can't comment on the price. I believe Mr. Jackson, I believe you have that.
Yes.
And you discussed that.
Yeah.
And while he's looking, the reason I'm asking is because in looking at the flock safety services, you know, I thought that probably would include some of the other products for detection in terms of make and model, license plate scanning, things like that.
Well, license plate scanning is something totally else besides this shot spotter. There's other systems out there, flock and LPRs.
While I was looking at the flock safety services and looking at the crime prevention and the safe neighborhood as the ones that were selected, I thought that it would probably include those, not just the shot spotter.
Yes. It includes a 2-year service agreement, for the city of Pahokee. It includes site and safety assessment, camera setup and testing, and shipping and handling in accordance with the Flock Safety Advanced Implementation Service Brief. And the utilization for it, as you mentioned, would be for crime prevention and safe neighborhood programs.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't want to comment on that. You had it in front of them. I don't want to tell you something and I don't have it in front of me. So.
Just
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for giving me your time to tell you about this.
And if approved, this agreement starts January 1, 2025.
City Commission, haven't heard resolution 2024-53 properly read into the minutes by our city attorney, properly explained by our city manager, and properly provided information by our lieutenant. What is your pleasure?
Mayor
I
Bab.
move that we accept Resolution 2024-53.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner McPherson and properly seconded by Commissioner Bolden for the adoption of Resolution 2024-53. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin-Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Next, we'll have Resolution 2024-54, City Attorney.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-54, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, approving the interlocal cooperation agreement and authorizing execution between Palm Beach County and the City of Pahokee to carry out program activities for implementation of the Community Development Block Grant Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and Home Investment Partnerships as set forth in Exhibit A hereto, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation of Resolution 2024-54?
Yes, sir. Mayor and Commission, Resolution 2024-54, if passed, approves an interlocal agreement between Palm Beach County and the City of Pahokee regarding the Community Development Block Grant, Emergency Solutions, and the Home Investment Partnerships programs. The City of Pahokee has in past years entered into such an agreement with the county under its Urban County program. The city opted out a few years ago to participate in the state's program. This resolution will again afford the city's participation in the Urban Counties program, effective fiscal years 2025 and 2026. I have asked, and we have with us Mr. Serrano, the Director of Strategic Planning and Operations from the county's Department of Housing and Economic Development, to provide a brief presentation outlining these programs and answer any additional questions that you may have. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2024-54. Mr. Serrano.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this resolution this evening. Again, my name is Carlos Serrano. I'm with the county's Department of Housing and Economic Development. And I'll just give you a brief presentation that will hopefully answer any questions you might have about this. So this interlocal agreement is in regards to the county's HUD-funded Urban County program. Next slide, please. Thank you. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development provides certain formula grants to states, counties, and municipalities that have populations greater than 50,000. Palm Beach County partners with approximately 31 local municipalities here in the county to form the Urban County program jurisdiction for these certain grant purposes. HUD establishes a 3-year cycle by which the county and these municipalities qualify as an urban county jurisdiction. As the city manager mentioned, the city of Pahokee had opted out a couple of years ago in order to pursue the state program. An approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement tonight would bring the city back into the county program for the federal fiscal year that starts next October 1st, 2025. The 3 programs that are covered by the Urban County Agreement are the Community Development Block Grant Program. These are funds that are typically used for public facilities and infrastructure type activities, public services as well. Some examples of how the dollars have been used here within the city of Pahokee. For a number of years, the city has directed them towards supporting your municipal code enforcement program. Funds have also helped support the operations of the Melissa's Place homeless shelter. And you may recall there was about $1 million of improvements done to the gymnasium a couple years back. New floor, scoreboard, basketball hoops, restrooms, and everything. All of that was CDBG dollars that came through the county to the city. The Home Investments Partnership Program is specifically for affordable housing purposes. It can do housing construction, acquisition, rehabilitation. The county also utilizes the funds to offer some home buyer assistance programs. An example of how funds have been used here in the city, very recently, Habitat for Humanity just completed a home at 275 Begonia that was funded with these home dollars that flowed through the county and were granted to Habitat for Humanity. The third grant is the Emergency Solutions Grant. That's specifically for homeless services, shelters, transitional housing, other types of supportive services for the homeless and those at risk of homelessness. Example is the county's Community Services Department operates some emergency rent and utility assistance programs that your citizens can apply to directly for emergency financial assistance when they're facing eviction or utility disconnection. Next slide, please. So this interlocal cooperation agreement that is before you for consideration would do a couple of things. By approving it, the city agrees to participate in the county program for the last 2 years of this current 3-year cycle. So again, from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2027, the city would be agreeing to cooperate and the required grant planning and reporting that goes on as required, the administrative tasks that are handled by the county. Typically, it's an information exchange between us, that type of reporting. And the city would agree to allow the county to be undertaking grant-funded activities within its jurisdiction. In the absence of the agreement, essentially we're not authorized to expend grant funds within the municipal bounds. You would also be agreeing to comply with various fair housing, equal opportunity, and non-discrimination laws that are outlined in the agreement itself. And this agreement would run at the end of the current 3-year period for another 3-year cycle if the city did not opt out but chose to remain. Next steps. If the city approves the agreement this evening, it will then go to the Board of County Commissioners for approval at the board's February 11th meeting. The county submits the agreement, some other documentation that's required to HUD. After HUD reviews it and approves it, the city's officially part of the county program for that next 2-year period that begins October 1, 2025. And I'd be happy to address any questions that the commission may have.
Any questions from the commission at this point? In your research, do you understand have familiarity with why the city opted out previously? And for your understanding, what would be the benefits of us coming back into the system?
Sure. My understanding was that prior city management had desired to pursue CDBG funding from the state. So there's a state CDBG program as well, where these same federal dollars from HUD, instead of flowing to the county, flow to the state. And it's the city's option whether to pursue these CDBG dollars from the state or from the county. That had been, I guess, city management, or perhaps this commission or prior commission's direction at that time.
Mr. Jackson, staff recommending this approval based on your research of how well we did on our own versus under the county umbrella.
Well, Mayor, my recommendation is to approve this interlocal agreement as outlined and included in the information based on a couple of different things. First and foremost, we're in the same county. We benefit from additional resources just by being a part of the county's program. We're able to get answers and get resolved a lot quicker than having to deal with waiting on a state response, a state answer. That's one thing. The other thing, and it's kind of coupled along with it, it helps build and strengthen relationships across city disciplines that will be a real good benefit for the city. And the other thing that I think, I'm not sure if it was known or not, but when the city opted out of the county's program, the intention was to join the state program as referenced by Mr. Serrano, but the city never joined the state's program. And since that time, all of the services associated with HUD funding, whether it's the state program or the county program, was foregone as a result of not participating in any of the programs. Mr. Serrano talked a little bit about the programs and how they benefit, but I think based on what it's done historically in the city of Pahokee, in the Tri-City areas, stands on its own in terms of how effective it could be.
Great, thank you. City Commission, having heard the resolution properly read into the minutes by our city attorney, properly explained by our city manager, properly presented by our presenter, what is your pleasure?
Mayor, I move to accept resolution 2024-54.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of resolution 2024-54. Call for question. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote.
Thank you again, Mr. Serrano.
Thank you. Now we'll move to new business. Presentation by the city manager of activities of upcoming events, if any. We have two listed here, the discussion and direction of the close of the ARPA project and funds.
Okay. Ms. Adams provided you with a list of the upcoming events, and I'll speak on both of the listed items, 1 and 2. First, on ARPA fund update. The city received a total revenue amount of $3,162,890 from the American Rescue Plan Act, commonly known as ARPA. To date, the city of Pahokee has expended $3,039,457 as of November 25th, as of yesterday, accounting. These funds were expended over several categories, which included Marina Docks DE&F, the Minor Home Repair Program, the Residential Relocation Utilities Assistance Program, the Small Business Development Program, the Behavioral Mental Health and Job Training Program. And there were 2 interfund transfers to the general fund, and there was 2 interfund transfer for budget shortfalls. Both those transfers were done in 2023 and 2024 respectively. The remaining balance of $123,433 is represented within the minor home program at an amount of $93,572. The relocation utilities assistance program currently has a balance of $19,861, and the behavioral mental health and job training program has a balance of $10,000. The period of performance by federal rule and definition states that all ARPA funds must be incurred or committed by December 31st, 2024, and all ARPA funds must be expended or spent by December 31st, 2026. From the city's remaining balance of $29,861, that's uncommitted as of today. So that takes into consideration the monies that are currently in the home repair program, the $93,572 is already committed. The only uncommitted funds remain in the Utilities Assistance Program and also the Job Training Program. We will have a resolution before you, hopefully for the $10,000 as applied for by Dr. Yinga on our next commission meeting. But as of today, we have an uncommitted amount of $29,861. Staff will recommend a transfer of that amount or whatever the balance will be as of the 10th commission meeting to the general fund so that all funds are committed by the deadline of December 31st, 2024. I know that was a lot, but that's where we are with the ARPA funds. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Transferring it over to the general funds, are we gonna make sure that that 29,000 portion of it is appropriately designated to whatever was able to be spent on the ARPA funding?
Yes, sir.
We just can't spend it on anything we choose, I don't believe.
Yes, sir. It will be spent, and there were some shortfalls, and the commission is very much aware of some of the challenges with the minor home repair program. My recommendation would be to put that money, when it's transferred, to allocate it to complete that program. And by my last calculations and working with staff, there should be enough money to complete for all of the applicants. We had some applicants, as you know, they're all or mainly seniors that participated in this program. Once inspectors went in and started their preliminary review, they may have gone in with a scope of work to repair a window, but found out that the floors, there were bad spots in the floor and it needs flooring that need to be improved, or plumbing, or some of the other minor repairs. So we took all that into consideration. And our first goal is to complete the scope of work. And for anything over and above, if funding is available, we want to be able to make those applicants as whole as possible.
I have one question, Mayor Bell. Just for update, I know there were a lot of issues with the home repair. Mr. Jackson, did we ever get that situated with the seniors, the issues that they were having? Or is there anything that the city has to do further to ensure? Because I know where I live, they're still complaining, saying that they never got the job completely done. So is there like an update on that? As far as the seniors that started getting services done and it wasn't completed?
Yes, ma'am. Every senior, every participator in the program, if they fill out an application and work was started, those programs will be completed. Just as an update, we had some challenges with one of the contractors who had contracted to do a majority of those programs. We've since then, over the last 3.5, 4 months, we've met with those contractors and that team almost on a weekly basis. As late as today, well, I'll go back a couple of weeks. We got a commitment a month ago for that contractor to provide additional subs under his name to work through an affidavit process that will allow those homes to be completed. During that time, that new inspector went out and he did additional and new quotes to make sure that everything was covered in those areas that were originally scoped in the process. And we went, I think we were able to touch at least 90% of those that applied. There are still some that has not complied in terms of responding to emails or responding to telephone calls or responding to personal knock at the doors. We're still working to get in contact with them. I think it's a total of 4, if I'm not mistaken. But again, staff understands that the city's commitment to complete those programs. And this will allow us to complete it. We know that most of those dollars, as I indicated, all of those dollars from the home repair program has been committed. And theoretically, we have until 2026 to spend it. But my commitment is to have it spent within the next month, 2 months at the most.
Okay, and then the 29,000, we're just going to, that's going towards the home program as well, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
So there was nothing left to do, because I know when the committee came before, they were supposed to buy these covers. So a lot of what was on the list that was supposed to be done, that was voted on, that is not going, I heard you say that some of the funds was used for shortcomings for budget. I don't remember that being voted on, to use the ARPA dollars for that. But I see you said it was used for that, but I know there were a list of things that was voted on that they wanted it to be used on. So some of those items that was on the short list to get done, so you're saying none of that is going to be able to be done because the funds had to be rerouted and used in other areas? Because I know they did use some of it emergency for the docks up on the marina. But I know there were some covers that they were saying that we needed to replace throughout the city that had those whole, what do they call those hole covers? Those manhole covers, and that was one of the main things we wanted to make sure got done. So are we saying now we're not gonna have any other funds left over to at least do that?
As it stands, and you're correct in your observation. Originally, I don't think the docks, D, E, and F was a part of that wish list.
Nor was the shortfall for the budget as well.
Right, but that took a bulk of it, $927,133 for the docks. So a lot of what was originally outlined and prescribed, and I don't have that list that you're referring to, was probably zeroed out because of that unexpected cost. And what you referenced to the intertransfer and the to the general account, that's an allowable use of ARPA funds. So we just want to make sure that we're presenting information that's not that's accurate and
No, I was just asking because I know it wasn't part of when the that was not part of the recommendation. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I was saying. It wasn't part of the recommendation, so that's why I was asking about the covers.
Okay. And I'll give you a little bit more detail so you can get a better understanding of the interfund transfer into the general account. And I think the commissioners at the time that this was agreed upon will remember there were 2 annual payments to the Palm Beach County Sheriff Office for $542,500 with a total of $1,085,000. So that transfer covered 2 years of payment to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for this annual contract. Also an allowable use on the ARPA funds.
Thank you.
Maybe also in a future report, could you find where that money
That was freed up.
was
That's my
diverted for? We needed to pay the sheriff office.
Sure.
And that was a good thing, but that was money we would have had to pay out of our general fund.
Correct.
Just wondering where that funding went to and what categories. Just be helpful for us to know how it was up and whether
Thank
it's
you, Ben.
properly distributed to areas where we really needed it.
Let me understand your
Thank you,
question,
Ben.
Mayor. Could you repeat your question?
Okay. We saved the $500 and some we would have to pay for Palm Beach County Sheriff Department for our policing. I'm just wondering, that freed up money in our general fund to go to other services and other things we needed to do in our community.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, where did that pot of money actually landed?
Okay.
What area was it spent in? If we can find that through
Okay.
whatever means we can, just to give us a general idea to make sure that that money was spent in a real fruitful and useful way.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Help it.
Yeah, I understand your comments now, and it's well taken, but I will remind you as well During the same time, the city's assets were frozen from the state, which we were unsuccessful in obtaining over a tremendous amount of money based on what was going on with the JLAT. So when you say that the city saved money, actually the city needed to use ARPA funds because there were no monies to pay those law enforcement trust fund agreements because of that. So technically, it was probably a budgeted item, and we know it's an annual budgeted item with an anticipated 4% increase annually, but there was no funds to pay it during that time. That was the bulk of it, and I will seek and I streamline and get some more details on anything that was over and above that.
Mr. Jackson, do you know exactly when did the state freeze the city funds?
I can provide
I mean,
it.
I hear we say that, but when did it actually get frozen that we were not receiving funding from the state?
Okay,
I've never heard that date.
I can provide that date to you. Yes, ma'am. I don't know off the top of my head, but it is a date, and I'll provide it to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So the second on the new business was a discussion of the performance evaluation of the city clerk and city manager. I don't know if you want to just tackle that, Mr. Jackson, how probably what means. I was thinking that we would have a workshop to at least address that. I think this was one of the concerns Commissioner Mike Fitz and
Yes, sir.
brought up for future agenda items.
Yes, sir. And we had some conversation during the workshop, but I wanted to wait and provide you guys a copy. But as you mentioned, I think it'd be better suited to have it in a workshop setting. But what I was able to do through the clerk's office is to provide each of you with the existing evaluation tools for both the city clerk and the city manager. And you maybe can use this as a springboard to develop something or something similar that you can work on. Definitely serve as a conversation piece. Does everyone have two? Should I give you two? I'll give you one each. Did everyone get two? You just got one? Okay. So, once you decide as a commission when you want to workshop this item, we'll make sure that we provide time for it. And as you indicated, there are several other tools or approaches that we can develop. If you like, I could look further to some professional organizations or utilize our Human Resources Department to come up with some additional strategies or that we'll also provide during the workshop to provide you an opportunity to consider as well.
Now we're moving to,
I'm missing one, because I see the general employee and I see the city managers. I don't see one for the clerk.
That's the one for the clerk, I think.
Yeah, the top one, the
Yeah,
general,
top
this is
one.
one for the clerk.
Yeah, that's the one for the clerk. This is for the clerk. And this one's for the manager.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
well,
understand this says employee performance evaluation. I'm thinking this would be for your regular other employee, for the other department heads if they have one, but
yes, that's what we're currently using.
To her position.
I didn't understand you, Commissioner.
I was gonna say, maybe we can look at it and tweak it to her position, even though it's for a general. I guess they don't have, the city doesn't have one for the clerk as of now.
What,
Like when the clerk was getting evaluated prior to now, I guess that's what he was looking for, maybe, I don't know. That one, that wasn't a one so the clerk used the same one as the general employees used?
I can't speak directly to
When they were
that.
being evaluated in the past?
There is another one that
I'm
I
not sure if
had.
there's
I think I
another one,
had
but
a
that's what
public
the previous
records
clerk used.
about a while
Yeah.
back.
That, I'm sure if you go years back, you may be able to find one that may have said city clerk on it, but currently, that's what
Yeah.
we're using and what we used.
We can
We can
get one
tweak it
developed.
to
Yes, sir.
for the
job
clerk. You can-
description.
I mean,
Tweak it.
Google gave you that pretty easily. We can more define it to our
Right.
clerk if
There's
needs
a
to.
lot of
but
stuff on here.
We should be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll move into the mayor's report just briefly. On behalf of the mayor and the city commission, I extend our deepest condolences to the family of the PBSO officers that lost their life in the line of the duty. Heartbreaking situation and occurrence. We ask that you can continue to keep the family in your prayers and your thoughts as they move forward in their life. I also just want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. To me, this is one of the best holiday seasons. You have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, and you have New Year, just all right in the cluster. And I just wish everyone a happy holiday season. And it's Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. Wishing that you and your family have a joyful and prosperous Thanksgiving. And may your holiday bring an abundance of reason to be thankful. Also want to congratulate Commissioner Bolden on his unopposed seat. He'll be reelected for another 3-year term, and we're welcome to have him back with us intact. And I also extend congratulations to myself. I was also unopposed and don't have in opposition. I would also like to wish Vice Mayor Mervin, including her opponent, good luck in their election bid, and wish y'all Godspeed. That concludes my report, and now we'll move into the report of the city attorney, if any.
No report this evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Report of the city manager.
I just want to mention, as you presented to me after your return from the National League of Cities, I just want to update we're awaiting the scheduling of a demonstration of the GoGov app. As Mayor Babb has requested a demonstration. The app encourages greater citizen participation and provide timely citizen notifications. It's one of the presenters during the National League of Cities Conference. I've taken a look at it. I've spoken to the representatives. It's a very useful tool, and there are also options for code enforcement and permitting functions. So at the after the Thanksgiving holiday, we're going to schedule a time to meet with those appropriate department heads to look at how and if this will provide another tool to help provide information, timely information, and adequate information to our citizens. That's the only other thing that I have, and I wish the entire commission, mayor and the commission, and staff and residents of the city of Pahokee a very safe and prosperous Thanksgiving holiday.
Now we'll move to future agenda items of the commissioners, if any. We'll start with Vice Mayor Murphy.
The only one I have, Mayor, that I know the city manager already know, we had to postpone sojourners. Because something came up, they was not able to be here today, but they were, asked to be, included to the next agenda for December, the first meeting in December. And also, I think, Mr. City Manager, it should be, I think Mr. Eichel talked about it a little bit, but it should be a proclamation for the HIV. I think, and they will also be here on the, December the 10th.
Commissioner Williams.
I do. Mayor Babb, I don't know if you want me to read them all, but I do have, I went back through all our agendas where there were some items we've asked to be on future agenda items that have not been placed on it back from starting in April. And so, I would like to, see, I know I asked, city manager, in regards to, having a workshop on the boards, and he said that has been discussed. But I noticed when I went back and looked at the meetings, the last, on the July 23rd meeting, there was a consensus of the commission to have a workshop on all of the boards. And, if there was one, I know he said it had taken place, I didn't know about it, but I would still like to have that workshop, because we wanted to look through to see if there were any of the boards that had the same information on it. And that was at the July 23rd, commission meeting. Also, I just spoke with him in regards to, I wanted to talk, bring to the commission about putting a fence around the canal in East Lake Village because of the, big alligator that's out there. And then, also, for the, I know you asked about the entryway signs. He was to get quotes on the entryway sign for that, if we, that was on June the 11th, if we can see where we are with that, because I was thinking maybe we could use some of the ARPA funds for that. We asked about to bring as a future agenda item, if we can get an update on Muck Tavern, because I know Commissioner McPherson requested we discuss the management of the marina, but I know that was into legal and where they are with that. So if we can get an update on where they are with that with Muck Tavern, so we can start discussing what we're gonna do about the management of the marina. And we also asked, Commissioner McPherson asked and requested that we discuss playground equipment about MLK and Glaze Citizen Villa. Like, these are all items that we asked to go up on future agenda items, just to see where we are with them, at least for a discussion. I know I asked on July 23rd about bidding out the cemetery. And I know Mr. Jackson said he was gonna check into it and get back with us, so just kinda seeing where we are with these. And so instead of going through all of them for the record, I'll just give him a copy of, you know, some of the, all of the items that I would like to, you know,
Or
to come up soon.
Any of those items that we didn't vote on as a commission to move forward to a future agenda item? I'm just only asking that because I wanna make sure.
No,
if
all
you-
of these came from the minutes. All of these are items that came from the minutes that we have asked to come,
Okay.
you know, that he bring back to us.
Okay,
Cause
so
some of them he did, like he discussed the, ARPA, I had that on here, and he talked about that tonight. We talked about the evaluation tonight, that was on there. So all of these are items that, we have, talked about. Also, I would like to add on there, if for a future agenda item, I know we did on May 28th, and when he first came, he said that the, city personnel policies needed to be cleaned up a little bit. So I was just wondering, I know we did an amendment for one that he needed, so I was just wondering if he had an opportunity to look at that, and if so, if there's a new handbook, you know, I'm not sure or not, if we can bring that back and discuss if he looked at that with some changes. And I would also like to add to the next agenda item, talk about the use of the city vehicles. I know he briefly spoke about that, but I would like to see what the policy is, and we can talk about, the use of the city vehicle.
Okay. So you're gonna give him a list of things you wanna add that been
At least that we previously asked if we can
discussed,
at
and
least
we have
start.
agreed that the majority want that done.
Right.
I'm asking you, do you have any now?
On
that-
here, the
that need
use
to
of
be
the,
voted upon
oh,
to be
yes, the
added?
use of the city vehicles.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
the use of the city
Okay.
vehicle. That's the only one that's on here that we have not voted on, the use of
Commissioner
the.
Kyle Williams is asking that the use of the city vehicles be added to our future agenda item. Are there a second to that?
Second.
Been moved by, second by Commissioner Bolden. Call for question. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Calvin Williams?
Yes,
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Motion passed by unanimous vote.
and the last one, and I don't know, did we vote on this one about the collection of money? like when we having games and things like that, did we already vote on that to have him to look into that, using that program, so, with the collection of money?
Can't recall.
Well, I'll let that be a new one then, with the, using, a program with the collection of money where the funds go straight to the city account.
You know, like they play, I'm gonna say for football.
Like we do the tickets,
you do,
the tickets, you
I
don't get
forgot
money
the
anymore, you have to go to Go Tickets and it
That's
goes
what she's
straight to
Oh,
asking.
the,
you said get a program?
get a program for the city,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get a program, okay.
Anyone
For
would like to
collection of
second
funding.
that?
Second.
Okay, 2 seconds, we got that, by Commissioner Bolden and Commissioner McPherson on the second. This to have future agenda items of discussion of finding having a system where monies for our recreation activity would be generated through some type of funding account, electronically versus in cash.
Cash money, yeah.
Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sinquetta Cowan-Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Those 2 items will be added to our future agenda list.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would like to give a real brief update on all the items and bring it back in detail, because I want to be able to respond to what Commissioner Williams has requested, if you don't mind, if the Commissioner doesn't mind.
Okay.
Could you provide a little more detail on exactly what are you looking for the board meeting for dealing with boards? Because we have workshopped it twice and maybe 3 times already, but I just want to make sure that we're hitting your mark in terms of what you're looking for.
Okay, well, if we workshopped them, I don't have the minutes for them. I
Okay.
just know one time, on June 11th, it says, by request of the mayor, attorney provided an overview of the boards discussing ensued regarding the information provided in recruitment. But then we came on July 23rd, I brought it up again, and it was the consensus of the commissioner to have it. And what I was only asking is that some of the boards are asking us to do the same thing, and we were trying to see which boards we wanted to keep, or if there were any boards that we wanted to get rid of.
Okay,
Because some of them was asking and doing the same thing, so that's,
So a good title for that workshop would be streamlining city boards and committees.
it could be.
Okay. Fence and canal at East Lake Village. I've met with both the water control district there that is not responsible for fencing the area. I also met with the owner of the property that had agreed on 2 different occasions to put a fence there. He's willing to do it. He has been very slow in doing it. I've provided him the information that he needs in order to pull the permit to have it done. He's still saying that he's committed to have it done, so I'll just follow up with him to see if we have a schedule for that. The entryway signs is a surtax project for this upcoming fiscal year, as agreed to and budgeted during our budget session. So that will take place during this fiscal year. Muck Tavern is currently, I met with, over the phone with Attorney Norris Weeks. We're in the process of negotiating and scheduling future meetings to finalize negotiations for the repayment of fees and fines and forfeitures for Muck Tavern during the time that they were there. Also, my goal is, once that's cleared up, to begin conversations. I've already had some general conversations with the state of Florida regarding putting the project out again for bid, if that's the will of the commission. My idea is to have something there sooner versus later. So although we have not spoken about it during commission meetings, that's something I'm presently working on as well. The playground equipment for the numerous parks, but namely MLK, is a part of the overall plan for the improvements at MLK. I've received playground equipment ideas and concepts from both Commissioner McPherson, also Vice Mayor Mervin. I think you may have even provided some as well, Commissioner Collins.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so
No, you
that,
was accepting it.
ma'am,
I didn't know that we was accepting it. I didn't know you were accepting. I thought it was coming back to the commission.
No, they received some information during a training that they participated in, and they just brought them back as potential ideas. We haven't agreed on anything of that. And
Just on that note, it was about the brochures and stuff, about the equipment. Gave me the information that I had got when we went to the training down in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
the bidding out, I'm sorry, you done?
Go ahead.
The bidding out of the cemetery is not a, it's something that will definitely have to go through a very formal process in doing, and the city would have to consider a lot of different options before finalizing that process. That's something that I've heard from the commission. It's something that it's not on my immediate plate right now, but it's something, along with the outsourcing of the campground and marina, as future possibilities based on the performance of those two departments over the years as it relates to the management functioning and also the auditing of those systems. They have not been money makers as it appears now under the city control. There are some ideas. I've had conversations with some potential companies that could first maybe manage the cemetery versus completely selling the cemetery. Likewise, I've done the same similar thing met with companies to talk about possibility of managing the campground and marina to provide for a more effective and efficient use of that resource. As you very well know, all of that will have to be approved not only by the city but also the state of Florida. I continue to communicate with the state of Florida as it relates to the marina and campground. The May 28 City Personnel Policy Handbook, as approved on May 28, that's the latest approved version. As you indicated, we have noticed and you pointed out some things that you recommend changing. My idea was to get the Human Resource Director on board, which she is now on board, and to allow her to, what she is currently doing, to go through the Personnel Policy Handbook under her expertise and make recommendations based on whether or not we have antiquated, outdated policies and recommendation for new ones.
Okay.
So all of that is forthcoming. The use of city vehicles, we referenced that earlier tonight. We'll bring back that policy for future consideration. And also, I have looked into systems through PNC Bank and other institutions regarding the collection of money for recreational and any city activities where there's an exchange of monies. So I will bring and present a little bit more detail on all of those, but I just wanted to make sure that I responded generally to what you've brought up tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bowling, any items you would like to have? I have two I would like to have added to the future agenda item. Christmas holiday decoration contest. I'd like to see us bring that back. It used to be a time where people used to drive through the city and see who had the best house decoration for Christmas. Not only our city, but people from the outside used to, that's how lively and decorated it was during that time. So I just want to see if we have a contest, maybe it'll bring that spirit and camaraderie back to Pahokee. And I'd like to see, if possible, we provide a prize. On Christmas, you get gift. We can give a gift card, maybe $100 to the winner, $50 gift card to the second place, and $25 to the third place. And again, that's just my suggestion and idea. The commission may not even agree to it or don't want that, but it's just something that we can at least discuss and kick around if we possible. And if I can get a second just to bring it back on the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by the mayor and second by Commissioner Bolden that we put forth to our next or future agenda item, Christmas holiday decoration contest. Call for questions?
So it won't take place to 2026? Because by the time we come back, it's December the 10th. Are you gonna do it? Or we still should have time,
It's
right?
just gift
Like,
cards. Should be able to promote it.
Okay, for 2020.
Everybody start putting
Okay.
Christmas decoration up, it still should be done.
No, for most people decorate now, so.
So would they be applying to be a part of the contest?
We're committed, that's that beautification
Would they have a
committee.
committee?
That's that beautification committee.
Either the commission or your beautification.
No, that
committee
beautification
can do it.
committee,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's how I know, I think the code enforcer too was involved.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just need some judges to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
around the community and
That's good.
ranking them. Okay. So, are
Ready for
you
the
ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin Williams.
Yes,
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Mervin.
Yes.
Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commission. Motion passed by unanimous vote. And the last one is to have on our agenda, future agenda item, the state of the city address. I think for the last 3 years, we haven't had one. It's just important that we provide our goals and objectives and our future plan for this city. And it should be a program open to the community so they would hear our address on that, some type of event. So we'll add that if we can get a second and a majority vote for it to be added. Who said
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin seconded. I move for it to add on our future agenda item, the state of the city address. And we want to do it in the beginning of the year, if possible, if it could be arranged, as soon after. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin Williams,
yes.
Commissioner McPherson.
yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. And we'll move to Commissioner McPherson if he have anything he wants to have placed on a future agenda item.
Yes, one of the things was Muck Tavern. If we can put that on our next agenda, I don't know how far we can move forward. I don't know if we're still in legal, as far as legal. But what I want to try us to do to bring it before us so we can kind of suggest what we, because I got some ideas, but I want us to discuss it as a commission and see if we can try to move in that direction to try to see what we're going to do with Muck Tavern.
Okay, we can do it one or two ways. As it stands now, we're still negotiating through the attorneys, so I wouldn't recommend doing it right away. And maybe we probably want to start calling it something else as opposed to Muck Tavern, because
Yeah,
legally we can't,
exactly.
it's not Muck Tavern.
The
So-
city restaurant.
Right.
Restaurant on the marina.
Yeah, we call it something, and then we can start developing a plan on some of the ideas or concepts.
Okay, because my question, I have a question about that. I know we're trying to recuperate the funds and stuff that can we legally move forward until that, without that being resolved, even though that's a pending case, or we can't do anything until we,
No, technically we can. Technically we can, because the contract has been terminated.
okay,
So technically we can, but from a business standpoint, I would want to clear up any outstanding issues as it relates to their being there, and before negotiating or even going to the state to ask for a restart.
okay.
That's my thinking from a business standpoint. But I will welcome the commission's position on it if there's something different.
Yeah, we can table that one, because I got some ideas, but, you know, I know there have to be something that we have to get a consensus on
Okay.
moving forward.
Okay.
The next thing is our policies on the use of the city's facilities, whether it's renting the cafeteria. Can we just have that on the next agenda item so we can make sure that we're all on the same page, or understanding the policies and what policies are in place?
Okay.
And if we need to address some of those, we can. But we
Okay.
just put it on the next meeting for agenda items.
Okay,
And I think that's about it for me.
yeah.
Okay. Next, we'll move to commissioner comments, and for the good of the order.
We didn't vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
John said-
before you go to public comments, I just want to, since Commissioner McPherson mentioned the policy that regarding the use of city facilities, I see Ms. Williams is in the audience tonight, and I just want to speak to a situation that occurred, and there's probably some misinformation out there. I just want to clear that from the city standpoint. I think it was on November 9th, I'm sorry. I initially got a request from Ms. Yarnell Williams and her organization for the use of MLK Park for a turkey community giveaway. I informed her at that time that the city had its own turkey giveaway on schedule for the 21st, and we were in conversations with other organizations as well to provide the same resources. And I highlighted in my email response to her that at this time the city will not be in a position to sponsor any additional turkey drives or turkey giveaways because the limitation of staff and some of the other things associated with getting a facility ready and such. So after that, she responded by saying that she was not requesting the use of city staff and that she had already had everything in place and need to move forward. I agreed to have her to come in and make application for the MLK Park use. Additionally, outlined some dates. I reminded her of the 21st and reminded her that we were still talking to others about potentially doing some things that had requested earlier. So at that time, he gave me a tentative date of November 26th, which is today. So from that November 12th response that I received from her, I was under the impression that the date was still tentative because I had not heard anything back from her regarding confirming the date. So on yesterday, after not hearing anything back from her, I reached out to her again through email and basically said, hey, what's going on? Or we're a day away from the event and I have not heard anything back from you. I reminded her of her responsibilities as a applicant for the facility. There was no deposit paid, there was no rental fee paid, there was no pre-inspection, there was no adequate insurance needed that covered per the application. She provided a copy of her general liability insurance that had a maximum of $250,000. The application requires a special event policy that ensures the city has a rider to the existing policy, and that amount is in the act for $1 million. So she didn't meet that threshold, and she didn't meet several others. So basically, I told her, with that being the case, it would be very difficult for me to get a turnaround and have something for the next very day. I thought she understood, and we agreed, and she basically said, okay, I'll do what I need to do. So the next thing I heard or received through email was something that basically said that she received notification to council within 24 hours and the city is not basically being a good partner. I reminded her during the 2 telephone conversations that we had that I've worked with her, any organization, any individual to make sure that if things are done timely, if things are done correctly, that I'm there for you. And I think I've represented that from the time that I've been here. But there is some information going across social media that's painting a completely different picture. And I don't think that's fair. We work real hard to make sure that the image of the city of Pahokee is better and strengthened. But I will tell you, there are some historical norms that have been allowed to be done in a way that, from a professional business organization we cannot continue to do. If things are done right, timely, on time, properly, I encourage all of that. But we cannot continue or afford to allow things to not be done properly. We have liability issues, potential liability issues and concerns that we have to be responsible for as a city. And I just wanted to mention that. I know she's here. She's probably got some comments. I'm not sure if she's provided a comment card. But I will tell you now again, if there's any project in the future that the city can partner or support or help you on, please provide enough time to make it a reality. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner.
And just to be clear, so my statement had nothing to do with Ms. Williams. It was just some other concerns that I've been hearing from the citizens, and I just want us to be consistent. And what I really want to do as far as us putting that on the agenda is make sure that our policies are readily available to the public. What I mean by that, on our webpage, so everybody can look and read, and we all be on the same page and have some consistencies. And when we hear those stories, we can give a response. Hey, this is what the policy is, and point them to the webpage.
Okay, and I've been doing exactly that. But I will tell you, when even pointing to the policies, when you point to the policies and they're not upheld and supported by decision makers, it becomes very difficult from the administration to carry them out. I know a lot of times, even with Mrs. Williams, I've suggested that if she has a concern or problem, that she should come to me, come to the office, make an appointment, see how we can work through things, but not to send an email to all of the commissioners and the mayor suggesting that I'm not responding or not being a fair person in the process. You've hired me to be the administrator for the city, to take care of the day-to-day. I know everybody knows everybody in Pahokee, and I'm not suggesting that you can't develop a relationship. But when it comes to business and operating the city, I have those policies. I have the attorneys and staff. I have all of the experts in place to help me make decisions as an administrator. And it becomes very difficult when that's usurped some of the times. So that's the only thing that I'm saying. So I know we all want what's best for the city of Pahokee, but sometimes we have to understand and realize where our limits and limitations are.
Now, one statement I want to address: if we're not enforcing the rules, that's a problem. We have to lead by example. Whatever our rules are for the public, they should go for us as commission, unless we got specific policies that's covering it.
No.
And we have to enforce whatever our rules are. That's why I want to make sure all of us are on the same page.
Exactly.
Excuse me, just point of order. You never voted on the last item from Commissioner McPherson.
The last item for future agenda.
Yes, his item didn't get voted on, so
For use of city facilities.
we need a second.
Commissioner McPherson was it?
Okay,
So he made the motion, so I'll go ahead and second it. So we
okay. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McPherson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes.
Thank
Motion
you.
passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to general public comments. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any public comments cards completed?
Yes, sir. We have one, Ms. Yarnell Williams.
Thank you, guys. I first want to say that on behalf of my organization, Muck City Market Missions Matters, we would like to say thank you for the previous support and things that you guys have offered with our organization to provide things to the city. I also want to address what Mr. Jackson has said, And it's very important that we are transparent with the community. It's very important that they know the truth and that they are aware of what has taken place. So let me help clear and provide my end of the story. Basically some of what he has said has been true, and all of you guys were in the email, so you know exactly what took place within that email. That is exactly why I sent the email to everyone, because it was an event. And we have done more in prior events and all the events have been successful. We have provided a multitude of resources and has not asked the city for 1 red cent. We have been able to make sure that the citizens of this community be provided with a multitude of resources and financial situations and support and educational support and support with small businesses. So let me say that first. Secondly, I want to say when I was sent an email initially to Mr. Jackson with all of you guys in the email, it was for support. And it was clearly stated within the email that I was asking for support. Nothing financial resources, no support from the city. We just needed a safe space to have the event for the actual people. Mr. Jackson I think the email was a little bit convoluted and he was a little mixed up thinking that we needed the city to do something or we was gonna use the city. And so that was very much so cleared up once we got on the phone. And so that's why the email that you saw him send back to me said, okay, go to Ms. Lopez, you gotta go tomorrow, pick up the application and complete the application. Upon me doing exactly what he asked me to do, I went and picked up the application, completed the application, and submitted the application. When I went to pick up the application, Ms. Lopez said he directed me to go to someone else, which was Mr. Williams. I get to Mr. Williams, so it's a lot of you go here, you go there. You do this, you do this, and it wasn't something that should have been together in it. It wasn't something, and so I'm glad that Mr. McPherson asked for what are the policies and the procedures for this, because the same thing that I submitted to Mr. Jackson, I've submitted in all my prior events, nothing different. Insurance, and he was here on the last event, which was the backpack giveaway. So it's the same information. So I'm curious to know why there was something different and why this was something that was said less than 24 hours prior to it. And if it's something that you wanted to help or bring or do with the community, that was an easy fix. Insurance, add the city name on it. If it was a cost, add the cost on it and I give it to you and the event goes on. However, this event was not, it was an event that I have sponsors, that I have other organizations that was involved. We missed opportunities. So there was nothing that needed to be done. We even had the sheriff department that was involved, that's always been involved with what we have done within the community. So my question is not to go back and forth about this because we missed an opportunity. It is what it is. You said no, and that was why. But I want to know, and the community want to know why. Why an event that was already mapped out, that money was already put into, and is giving away turkeys to people within the community, and we've done prior events, the same thing. So it's not like it was something new. This is something that has already been previously done within the community. And not only did I go back and submit the documents to Ms. Lopez, I also embedded those same documents in the email, and you didn't receive them. And then from November the 12th to November the 25th, that's when you look at the email and say, oh, we can't have it, less than 24 hours prior to. There was no reason for me to get back with you because you sent me to someone else. You directed me to do something, get the application, complete the application, submit the information. That is what was done. So the only thing that you did, the reason why you was provided a tentative date in all the emails that all of you guys were in says the same date. There was nothing different. And everybody that's up here on this panel can actually agree to that was the same date. There was no change. The only reason why I said to you tentatively, because you said to me that you had prospective people, and since I've been doing this, no one has utilized that park and given out turkeys. Even the city only gave out 80 turkeys. I had sponsors to give out 100 turkeys within this community. That was a loss and missed opportunity. I don't want to go back and forth. What I would like to see happen is for, like Mr. McPherson said, get a better policy, everybody on the same page, and that is why I actually put everybody in the email. And then I spoke with people. Some people didn't get the email. Everybody's in the email. It is what it is. That is a document that cannot change, and it's in black and white, and it don't lie. So I did everything that I was supposed to do. The same information that was provided to you, and if there was something that was wrong, Ms. Williams, you didn't do this correctly, let me help you correct this, because at this point, we've already put money's already been invested, sponsors have already came, and that gives a bad sense of community and unity to other people, because the sponsors that help my organization are not from here. They're giving back to our kids that are here. They don't live here. They don't know us. So they're doing that, and that's a slap in the face, not only to my organization, but to this community, because that was free. I have people in this community that are asking for turkeys, that's still in need of turkeys. So now, and I know my organization, you may not care or give a dog about it, but I have to account for that and try to help these people in some sort of way. And I lost a sponsor because of this. Because there was we had over 60 kids that are home during this break. Parents having to work, that we was gonna provide them the opportunity to be out there, not only just out there working, out there socializing, out there being with the police, building relationships, small businesses. We have a lot of your small businesses that was coming out there to kind of help build them and help keep this economy rolling here. I'm saying all this to say we just missed an opportunity. I don't want to go back and forth. We don't have to, because everything is in the email in black and white. And when I spoke to you, the last thing you said to me, Ms. Williams, let me get back with you, because you even thought and you knew, you had to know. So you had to think about it and go back and speak to the person who you sent me to. So I don't know who you had that conversation with, but when you came back to me and said, I'm sticking to my decision, there's nothing that I could do besides call my sponsors, call everybody, and it's a disappointment to the community. And so we don't have to go back and forth. Let's just be transparent. It is what it is. We missed an opportunity to help the people in this community. And I don't want to go back and forth with it. We just missed it. We dropped the ball. And that is what happened. So I don't want to say, I said this or you said that. It's here in the email. And I'm not going to upload anything like that on social media. I'm not doing that. But I had to, as an organization, let the community know why it was canceled. And that was my job and my duty. Now, moving forward, it will be done in the proper manner in which you told me at the end of the conversation that should have been the beginning of the conversation. And again, I appreciate everything that, you've done and helped me with. But like I said, my prior event, the backpack giveaway, you were provided the same information that I gave you for this event. And there was nothing questioned about it. So if there was an insurance issue, that should have been brought about in the last event. So we want to talk about right and wrong and who did what and this and that. I'm going to say that we both were not properly submitted the correct information. And I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll go ahead with the policies so everybody be on the same page. Thank you.
Yeah. Mayor Bell.
And I'm not going to agree with not being transparent. In what I've shared, I don't have any reason to retract any of it. As you clearly stated, it's in the email. And if you read the chain of emails, it will speak for itself. I'm willing to work with you in the future, but we have to do things right. This community has a history of not doing things right, and it's time for that to stop and change. If we're going to move forward as a commission, as a city, we have to implement policy, rules, and regulations that, like Commissioner McPherson said, that everyone follows. And I've been given the job to do that, and I will continue to do that. You're not going to find anyone in Pahokee that's going to be willing to help you the way I'll be willing to help you. I've extended myself beyond measure already in the 7 months that I've been here to help you and your organization. I have no other reason to do anything different, but it's got to be done the right way.
Okay.
Mayor Bell, may I just make one comment? Oh.
We're going to have your comment during your comments.
Oh, I just wanted to ask her a question.
Go
Okay. Okay, I'll wait then. Because I just wanted to ask her a question. Yeah, well, I just wanted, and I'm kind of curious now that she said, I just want to know, because I've never seen the policy. I just want to know, was the backpack event considered a special event? Because if she's saying that she was able to have the backpack event and not to go back and forth, I was just wondering, I guess that's a question as a commissioner I would like to know, to be transparent and fair. Was the backpack event considered a special event and she was able to have that? That was my.
We have a large number of folks. I don't know if it's 25, 50, but it's considered because of the number of participants in there, a special.
And I guess that was my question. So how was she able to have that event if she didn't have the insurance for that event?
It's
but
a
she
it's a
couldn't?
different type of event. I will provide the policy for you, and you can read it. If you have questions after you read the policy, my door is always open. I answer those questions.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was a special event, is it a different insurance for, or is there was a just one, for special events, is there insurance, or they call them different names, insurance for this one? I guess that's what I wanted to try to understand for the record.
Components make the difference in what type of insurances and stuff you need. Different components of what you're doing at your event. The
Okay.
county does this, the county.
Well, that's why I was asking. That's why I was asking. I wanted to know. So that's why.
And this is, it's not the first time it's been.
Okay, we're gonna
I'm sorry
move.
for speaking out, but
We're gonna move on. I tried to make sure I gave her the proper time to explain her side of it. I went over the 3 minutes, and I apologize for that. I got to be consistent with everybody as much as possible. Now we're gonna have the commissioner comments, and for the good of the order, I'm gonna start with Commissioner McPherson and work yourself this way to Vice Mayor.
Yes, this is just a general comment. Just as a thought of mine, and that's why I wanted clarification on the policies. And I think when somebody is trying to provide something free to the citizens, giving away something, that we need to make room and try to do all we can to try to work with those people. And even if we have to make some adjustments in the policies, that's why I want to put the policies on the future agenda items. But to move on, one of the things that I think me and Mr. Jackson, we've had a conversation about it, and I don't think we need to put it as a future agenda item. Just make sure that it happen. The audits, what I would like is for our finance director to give us a quarterly report on our budget, a quarterly report, as well as the auditor that does our annual audit, so we can see where we are before it's time to turn those audits in, or where we are even in our budget. But that auditor, I'm requesting that he give us a quarterly report so we'll know exactly, we don't find ourselves like we have in the past 3 years behind. And I'm not saying that that'll happen now, but we'll be aware of it as a commission. We won't be sitting here and we'll know where we need to go as far as the auditor is concerned, because there are things in the contract, if we're not pleased or happy, that we can sever the contract and look for someone else to put it back out for bid. I'm not saying that we're gonna do that, but just to keep us on the same page and keep us abreast of what's going on, so we don't be sitting here and 3 years later, our money's frozen, and we don't know when it got frozen and all that kind of stuff. But that's all. I'm just venting a little bit. But thank you all. Thanks to the citizens for coming out and participating. And I ask that we just still work with our community, and we need all our volunteers. If you can volunteer for anything for the city, get on the board, because we cannot do this without the input of our citizens. Thank you.
Commissioner Bolden, any comments?
Not really. I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. And like I said, on a regular basis, I think, people come up to me and they tell me how proud they are of what other things that they've been seeing, even in moments where where we disagree. People are really proud of how we handle ourselves as professionals. I just want us to be mindful of how hard we fought to be where we are, and to represent our citizens. And, I know all of us have our special way of doing that, which is fine. let us not forget how hard we work to be here, and let us continue to work together to move the city forward. Let's continue to move forward with optimism. There are a lot of great things happening in the city. Let's be mindful of ourselves, and let's continue to do this work. I'm really happy about this team. I want you all to know that. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say that. Just let's continue to move the city forward. And like I said, a lot of people are very proud of the things that they see with this group. So thank you all, and thank everyone watching.
Commissioner Kyle Williams.
Good evening. I'm kind of excited. I've been waiting to say this. So, we went to the training, or we went to National League of Cities, 100 years. We attended a lot of different trainings. I brought back a lot of different materials as well. But the training that stood out to me the most, that I would like to make my baby, and so it's also going to be a future agenda item, I was glad to hear. So I know since I've come, I says, what can we do to get our downtown looking good? So in the training, I learned, I know we always have been said, private people own this property. We can't make people do anything with their property. Well, I found out during this training that's not true. So I learned that we are the policy makers. There are some things that we can do, and they were talking about policies that we can put in place for vacant buildings, vacant property, and abandoned buildings, because we are the policymaker, and we can sit down and have workshops, because we as the commission, we decide how we want our community to look. Just because people have property and don't do anything with it doesn't mean that we have to let it stay like that. So I'm saying that to say, I would like for a future agenda item for us to have for a discussion, and I didn't know if that was the time to do it or not, is that we talk about policies that we can put in place, not where we're going to just put this on the owners of the property, vacant property or abandoned buildings, but we want to meet with them first. They did say that we need to meet with them first. Let them know about our comp plan, what's in our comp plan. Has the comp plan even been discussed with the business owners? And I think I've been asking this, have we met with the business owners? Who's doing this with the business owners? But I just learned so much, like we have a small city, but other cities have an entire community economic development department. It takes a team to do it. And so, we wouldn't just spring this on them, but in that policy, we can give them time frames of, what we expect to do. So our city, just because our downtown doesn't have anything, it doesn't mean that it has to look like that. So I would like for it to be a future agenda item or workshop that we have where we talk about how we are going to put a timeline on meeting with the owners of the, we can start with downtown, with our downtown area, and go over our comp plan with them and let them know futurely what's coming, that we're going to want to put some policies in place if we want to start with our city and for our city to grow, because that's what we want to see, and not, continuously we have these condemned and abandoned buildings and nothing is happening to them, so that we are the policymakers and that we can decide how we want our city to look, and it doesn't look like that. So that's a future item that I would like to see. And saying that, I would like to be the liaison for the Community and Economic Development Department, to be on that board to make sure that, to see that this takes place and move forward. So I'm asking the residents to please come fill out an application, get on the Community and Economic Development Board. I would like to be the liaison on that board to see our downtown area spruce back up, and be proud of when someone ride through our downtown, that it, we'll be proud of it. So I would like to see us to start working with the owners who own this property, and we start putting some policies in place, and that our downtown can really change. So I really enjoyed the training in Tampa, learned a lot of information. And so I just want to say thank you to all the residents that are listening tonight, and hopefully please get on the board so that we can get this up and running. So that we can revitalize our downtown. So that was the training that I went to that I really enjoyed the most, that I would like to take on as a project of our minds while I'm in, for the next 2 years. At least we can get something started and it's not continuously to look the same. Thank you. Have a good night.
Vice Mayor.
This is just have an announcement to all our parents that have high school and middle school kids. There are Florida Bright Future Scholarship and grant programs available. They're having an information session at the West Technical Education Center on December the 9th from 5:45 to 7:45. They're also going to be talking about mental and behavioral support. It's available to all Palm Beach County students. So parents, if you have any middle and high school students that need funding to go off to college, they will be there having information session. Again, that's December the 9th. That would be at West Tech, West Tech in Belgrade. And they also will be giving out, having free food and entertainment also for the kids. I was sending over to the city, so you would get it on the city webpage, but it'd be a good thing if you have any middle and high school students. And another thing, just to say happy Thanksgiving and enjoy, be safe out there for the holidays.
Having all business been brought forth, been taken care of, I'll entertain a motion for the adjournment of this meeting.
So moved.
Been moved by Vice Mayor.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bowden for the adjournment of the meeting. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvin-Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner McPherson?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Meeting adjourned at 8:26.